videos about the Marvel Universe, starting with the top 10 superheroes. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 226. Fortunately, he came to find Strange. Otherwise who knows what would have happened. And look at him like this, obviously not wanting to be what the title says. So he patted him on the shoulder and said, Strange. In fact, there has never been a so-called good guy or villain in magic, but it depends on how the user uses it. If you use dark magic to save the common people, then you are still a hero. It's just that your mental strength is not enough to keep yourself awake. When you surpass Master Guyi, maybe then, I will be proud of you. After the king finished speaking, he left. Strange was left standing there alone. Although Strange could understand the king's words, but he still wants to know, did he turn dark in pursuit of power? If that's really the case, then you have to reflect on yourself. So I gave up learning magic, sat in my seat, and waited quietly for the video to start. The other side. When Nick Fury put away the night belt. He and others immediately noticed the scrolling subtitles. However, when the title caught their eyes, I can't help but tremble in my heart. Drive. Strange turned black? How did that guy turn black? Isn't he the Sorcerer Supreme? If I remember correctly, the Ancient One Master also draws energy from the dark dimension, right? So it's normal for Doctor Strange to turn dark. Maybe it's also related to the rewards he received from the dimensional platform. When Banner exclaimed. Tony Stark expressed his thoughts with a frown. Wanda appeared beside Vision and nodded. She vaguely remembered that the dark book that Doctor Strange received as a reward would also appear in her future videos, and she also used it to improve her magic. That book is the true awakening of her Scarlet Witch power, and she can gain even more powerful power from it. This shows how terrifying this dark divine book is. If it is the Book of Darkness, then the darkening of Doctor Strange can be easily explained. If Doctor Strange turns dark, wouldn't we be completely unable to defeat him? When Natasha said these words, everyone was silent. Non-committal. Doctor Strange's power is not only reflected in the individual, but also in groups. Reminds me of the previous video, where Hank Pym single-handedly wiped them all out. There is still a shadow in my heart now. I'm afraid if Doctor Strange turns dark, maybe the whole world will be destroyed. So now we have to see what caused his blackening. If it is really the Book of Darkness, then we still have time to prevent it. Nick Fury's one eye became extremely sharp. There was even a hint of murderous intent. What he calls prevention. The natural choice was to head to Camel Taj. Beat up Doctor Strange and let him seal the dark book himself. After all, you can't grab the reward. So this is the last resort. If it wasn't the Book of Darkness that led to Doctor Strange's darkening, that would naturally be what they wanted to see the most. I hope it's not the Dark God book. I don't want to do this kind of thing to my own people. A trace of resentment flashed across Tony Stark's face. Apparently he is still upset about the Civil War incident in the previous video. When everyone heard this, they also started to look forward to it. What exactly caused Doctor Strange to turn dark? So I turned my attention to the Dimension platform, hoping that the video could give them a good explanation. Time passed by minute. Countless people are speculating. Crazy speculation. Just when they were impatient and almost started to argue. Finally the hour is up. So everyone rushed to click on the video, wanting to know what the truth is. The video begins accompanied by the soft sound of piano. Let countless people temporarily calm down. In the screen. A huge shadow seemed to hang upside down in the night sky of the city. His eyes seemed to have penetrated several latitudes and arrived here. Make countless people feel in awe again. Not anyone. It is the observer. At this time. The music turned into soothing dance music, which reminded people of a date, and they couldn't help but start to look forward to what will happen. Then Lin Lan's deep voice sounded. We have witnessed how a moment, a choice, can cause a chain reaction in time and space, how it can give rise to new stories, heroes, and even a whole new universe. But what if this is a wrong 627 choice? What if the choice was made with good intentions, but had unexpected consequences? At this moment point, when people heard Lin Lan's words to rhetorical questions instantly raised their anticipation to the peak. I can't wait to know what choice Doctor Strange made that led to unexpected consequences and turned him dark. They do not know. Crazy looking forward to the video giving them a perfect explanation. Whoops. A cool sports car is galloping on the road. Soon we reach the roadside. Strange got out of the car like a gentleman. He opened the passenger door. Seeing this scene, people seem to understand. He is on a date. At this time the camera follows his gaze. I saw a beautiful woman walking out. It was the girlfriend they had seen in the Doctor Strange video before. Good evening. You are so handsome. Is that what you're talking about? I just took it out of the dryer, and you're so mesmerizing. Strange blushed. The atmosphere suddenly became sweet. See here. Countless people began to wonder, is it possible that dating can make him darken? What the hell? Even though they were puzzled, but still read on patiently. I went there for dessert. I agreed to have caramel pudding. Maybe there are other good things. Strange said and closed the door. But at this moment the background music suddenly became dangerous, making countless people's hearts feel as if they were being grabbed by a hand. Extremely depressing. Then a silky smooth transition appeared. The moment the door closes, a scene shifts to a mountain. Strange was seen driving and taking his girlfriend to his destination. When people see this scene, his face was full of horror and anxiety. They all frowned because of this mountain and this road. They are incredibly clear. Isn't it the same road where Strange had an accident and suffered comminuted fractures of both hands in the previous Doctor Strange video? Boom, boom, boom. The hearts of countless people suddenly trembled. Pupils dilate dramatically. They were just wondering why dating was associated with blackness. Now they seem to have thought of something. Chapter 227. Could it be that Doctor Strange fell into darkness because of his girlfriend? They were glued to the screen, eager to know what would happen next. 136. Doctor Strange used the Eye of Agamotto to save his girlfriend? Huh. Why is it different from the previous video? When I came to this road, shouldn't I be alone? Maybe it's because the timeline of that world is different. As the author said, wrong choices may lead to unexpected endings. Touch. The place of apprenticeship. Strange, who stopped studying the Dark Book, went here to look for the Ancient One. He felt that standing beside him, he could feel an unprecedented tranquility. His inner desire to learn dark magic soon subsided. But when he saw the video, driving the same vehicle on the same road. But the difference is that this time, he is not alone. Could it be that has the timeline of this world really changed? But even if the timeline changes, my car will still fall off the cliff later, causing comminuted fractures in both hands. Right? No, that's not necessarily the case, Master. Guyi said calmly. He sees it differently. He thought so. This time it wasn't Strange. But his girlfriend. Here the word strange also became more curious. Then he shifted his attention to the dimensional platform. Countless barrages are also frantically expressing the speculations of countless people. Same place, same vehicle, but different people. I think Doctor Strange's darkening is probably because of his girlfriend. I think so too. Maybe this time, it was because of his girlfriend that he fell off the cliff and suffered comminuted fractures in both hands. Yes, that must be the case. Otherwise how could Doctor Strange turn dark? People have pointed the finger at Strange's girlfriend. He thinks it was his girlfriend who caused him to become black. It is also speculated that it was because of his girlfriend that he fell off the cliff and suffered comminuted fractures in both hands. After all, on the dimension platform, they have seen too many videos of car accidents caused by women snatching the steering wheel. So they all clenched their fists and looked at the video, waiting to see if their guess was correct. Just let me listen. Come on, come on. I know you have prepared. You will not improvise. Now I'm the only one listening. At this time when this luxury sports car rides in the dark night. The camera zooms into the car accompanied by sweet, heartwarming music. I just heard my girlfriend say to Strange coquettishly. Want to hear Strange's speech of thanks. Strange loved his girlfriend very much, so even though he was shy, he still cleared his throat and read it out. Okay, ahem. Ladies, gentlemen, colleagues, good evening. No, That's not it. Come on, skip the opening remarks and get to the point. His girlfriend's eyes revealed anticipation and pride. Want to hear the most important part. After all, the surgery performed by her boyfriend this time was extremely risky. But he succeeded. How could it not excite her? But while Strange was talking to her, the background music suddenly became terrifying. The hearts of countless people instantly jumped into their throats, and the camera looked out from inside the car and saw a car in front, moving very slowly. Strange doesn't have that much time now, so he is preparing to overtake from the left. See the scene. Countless people watching the video swallowed hard. It was as if the heartbeat had stopped, because they remember that in the previous Doctor Strange video, he was overtaking, collided with an oncoming car, and then fell off a cliff. It's over. It seems different from what we thought. His girlfriend didn't grab the steering wheel or anything, but it's exactly the same as the previous video. If I remember correctly, when he overtakes another car, he will definitely collide with the oncoming car and fall off the cliff, right? Maybe. The world is different. I think there are no vehicles in the opposite lane after overtaking. Countless people were extremely nervous. Stare at the sports car on the screen. It feels like every nerve in the body is working hard. I want to know whether Strange will be hit by a car like in the previous video. Or has something changed at this moment and there is no vehicle. Whoops. Strange stepped on the accelerator and turned the steering wheel to the left, but at this moment a ray of light suddenly pierced over. They saw a car coming towards them less than 10 meters away. Boom. Countless people held their breath and concentrated. My heart is beating like crazy. Sure enough, just like the previous video, overtaking is equal to crashing, Steven. But at this moment his girlfriend yelled, and Strange reacted immediately. Braking and turning are done in one go. Back to the driveway just now. See the scene. People who had fallen into despair just now opened their eyes wide. They all breathed a sigh of relief. Good guy. Are you worried about him for nothing? And this timeline has also changed. He didn't fall off the cliff. Hey, there was no crash. Great. Doesn't that mean Doctor Strange won't have his hands shattered? But if there was no car crash, then what caused him to turn black? This dog author is really good at creating contrast. Just as countless people just breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time in the video. Strange also breathed a sigh of relief. Then he comforted his girlfriend beside him. Ah, you okay? Here. The words "my girlfriend" opened her eyes. He was obviously frightened just now. Just when she was about to say it was okay. Boom. The sound of collision sounded. Under the shocked and unexpected gazes of countless people, a car hit the rear of Strange's car from behind at an extremely fast speed and then fell off the cliff. Silence. Speechless. All the people who were congratulating Strange just now were stunned in place. The pupils dilated rapidly and the mouth grew larger. Unexpectedly, I dodged the car in front of me, but not the car behind me. This reversal came too suddenly, catching countless people off guard. Did I lose it? Or did I fall off the cliff? Dog author, you are so meowing that my heart feels like a roller coaster. I thought he wouldn't fall off the cliff. I didn't expect that. Strange still suffered comminuted fractures in both hands. If that's the case, wouldn't it be the same as the previous video? Yes, he will still go to Carmitage to study and become a supreme mage. It has nothing to do with the darkening. Countless people yelled and cursed. I feel like I'm on a roller coaster, but at the same time the doubts deepened. Now that Strange has fallen off the cliff again just like before. Chapter 228. Then his timeline has not changed. Still going to study at Cameltage and become a superhero. It basically has nothing to do with blackening. The thought of this, countless people's expectations are rushing like a flood, and they want to know why. Sudden, just when everyone was in doubt. The background music became extremely sad, as if the petals had separated from the branches and floated into the distance alone, which made countless people's hearts sink. After Strange's sports car finally stopped rolling, the camera went inside. The figures of Strange and his girlfriend caught people's eyes, but to their surprise. Strange's hands are actually good, but the girlfriend next to him did not open her eyes. No. Christine, wake up. Christine, when Strange roared sadly. Everyone gasped. They thought Strange's timeline hadn't changed. But now it seems they are wrong. In this world, Strange has both hands intact, but his girlfriend is no longer there. This is a great sadness. Watching someone you love die in front of you. No one can accept it. However, this also made them initially believe that his girlfriend was probably the trigger for his darkening. I didn't expect his girlfriend to die. It's such a pity. My condolences. No one could have imagined that this would be the result. I think his girlfriend is the trigger for his darkening. Strange is not a person who would give up. That's right. In the previous video, Strange acted like that with his hands, and he spent all his money looking for a miracle. What's more, his girlfriend is dead. I think he loves his girlfriend very much. Yes. In this video. You can tell from just a short video. Strange loves his girlfriend very much. Opening the door for her thoughtfully, blushing when praised by her, showing love everywhere. However, he watched her die in front of him. How could Strange give up like this? In this world, Stephen Strange's hands are intact, but his heart is not immune. He is grief-stricken and searches all over the world, trying to find a way to change the outcome in the secret arts. At this time the narration sounded. There was a sad and desperate sound in the background music, like a lone boat drifting slowly on the lake, aimlessly, making everyone feel depressed and confused at the same time. Only seen in the screen. At my girlfriend's funeral. Strange drooped his head. There was no more smile on his face. He loves his girlfriend deeply and misses her. Accompanied by narration. The silky transition appears again. Strange, who was originally wearing a black suit, turned into the backpacker in the previous video. Continuously search the nations looking for hope. See this scene. Countless people choked. They did not expect that Strange in this world would actually learn magic because of his girlfriend. This kind of love is too deep. I didn't expect that Strange in this world would actually lose his girlfriend. I didn't expect that he loved her so much. Yes, he embarked on the path of magic in this world just to resurrect her. But this is definitely impossible. Yes, how can Strange be saved unless you have the incredible rewards of the dimensional platform? How can you come back from the dead? Countless people were very moved. But after seeing Strange embark on a magical journey, he began to doubt again. Even if you embark on a magical journey, unless you have the heaven-defying rewards of the dimensional platform, you can't resurrect people from the dead. Only seen in the video. Strange arrived at Kamatiki successfully. It's different from the previous video. And because of having sound hands he learns quickly. I learned the basics of magic. Shields, portals, etc. right away. And what happened next? Exactly the same as the previous video. Ancient One died and fought against Dormammu alone to protect the safety of the earth. And a man stood in front of the window of the temple, holding the Eye of Agamotto tightly in his hand. The background music becomes particularly tight and urgent. It makes people's hearts become extremely tangled. It's like making a difficult choice. He became a supreme mage from a scientist. Although he has gained a lot, he still can't let go of the past. When the narration sounded again. Countless people watching the video are staring at Strange in the video. Now he has become the Sorcerer Supreme. If there's anything you can't let go of, that must be my dead girlfriend. In an instant. It was as if a terrifying idea exploded in the minds of countless people. Could it be that Strange, he plans to use the Eye of Agamotto to reverse the timeline and save his girlfriend? Does he want to reverse time? He shouldn't do this. I think he will definitely do this. Don't forget that he is the Supreme Mage now. He has this ability. But in the previous video, even though he became the Supreme Mage, he didn't turn back time to save his own hands first. It's different. This is his beloved. He loves her so much. He will definitely do this. Countless people began to argue. Everyone has their own reasons while discussing whether Strange will use the Eye of Agamotto to reverse time and save his girlfriend. But at this moment. There was a ding sound in the background. Let the hearts of countless people tremble suddenly. Then see the video. Strange's eyes became extremely determined. Holding the Eye of Agamotto tightly in his hand. Saw this scene. Some people felt their blood boiling, while others felt their hearts pounding. Strange, he really wants to use the Eye of Agamotto. 137. I have watched my girlfriend die countless times and embark on the path of darkness. It's over. Strange is really going to use the Eye of Agamotto. What's wrong with this? Being able to save his girlfriend. This is what he wants to do most. No. Have you forgotten what Master Ancient once said before? Using the Eye of Agamotto is very likely to change the timeline or other things, and the consequences will be terrible. At this moment point some people didn't think so much, and thought it would be a good thing if Strange used the Eye of Agamotto to save his girlfriend point. But some people understand it deeply point the use of the Eye of Agamotto is likely to cause an irreversible situation. For example, changing the time rules, or changing the timeline point. No matter which one it is, it will be an irreversible situation for that world, even though they were discussing it so intensely point they also know that the choice is only Doctor Strange's, so he shifted his attention to the dimensional platform point. Keep reading. I pray in my heart that Doctor Strange will not use. Video continues when Strange held the Eye of Agamotto tightly point the translucent screen appears again point then soft warm music played point it's like a good memory. Chapter 229. I saw my girlfriend and him having sex with each other and then kissing point the scene is incredibly sweet. We also started buying cheap wine. How long has it been since that time? Just as Strange was lost in memories point and the screen point the king came to him point he looked out the window and sighed point as the mage who has spent the longest time with Strange point how could he not know what Strange was thinking point I couldn't help but feel sad for him. Tonight is the second anniversary. Why are you here, Strange? Said weakly point it is said that longing makes people haggard point he is extremely depressed now. You need to use the mage's room. What are you doing? When Wang asked this sentence point the camera cuts to Strange's right hand point I saw him turning the Eye of Agamotto over and then putting it away point this scene was captured by Wang point then he continued. Okay, I'm going to make a pot of tea. I suggest you don't do anything stupid. We'll drink tea together later. Finished point Wang turned around and left point the rain outside was getting heavier and the thunder was rolling, making countless people watching the video extremely depressed and staring at Doctor Strange point. Although Wang guessed what he wanted to do point and warned him point, but will Strange listen or should you stick to your own ideas? At this time, the background music suddenly became exciting exclamation point 627 it's like a dying man suddenly stands up and then goes to complete his dream regardless of his own life. Then in the shocked eyes of countless people point Strange put the Eye of Agamotto around his neck and activated the spell with both hands. Buzz. The whole space emits a crisp buzzing sound. When the Eye of Agamotto blooms with extremely dazzling green light, silky transition appears again. Strange, who was still in the temple, immediately appeared in front of a luxury car, as if he had returned to the beginning of the video. See this scene point the hearts of countless people seem to have sunk to the bottom of the sea. Really point Strange still uses the Eye of Agamotto. I can't help but feel worried. Could the Eye of Agamotto be the cause of Doctor Strange's darkening? Before they could think too much point the background music once again became sweet and warm point and Strange was more proactive in responding to what his girlfriend said. Compared with his previous shyness, he was obviously well prepared. Even while driving point facing my girlfriend's request point he even joked openly point. Although the background music is sweet and warm point, but the countless people who are watching the video are not happy at this time. How many times had Strange imagined having such a conversation before he could speak so smoothly and with ease? It's hard for them to imagine. Strange is a completely different person than he was before. He seems to be more active now, as if he has simulated it countless times. Strange really loves her. From the looks of it, he must have imagined more than once what he would say and do if he had it to do over again. It seems likely. I have long planned to use the Eye of Agamotto. Yes. After all, it's the second anniversary, and it will make him miss her even more. I hope he can succeed. Yes, such skillful words from Strange point it felt like I had tried it thousands of times in a dream before I could speak so smoothly point he really loved Christine point and everyone who is watching the video hopes that Strange can successfully rescue his girlfriend. Video continues Strange was seen driving a luxury car came to the back of the truck again point see this scene point countless people's hearts jumped into their throats everyone is looking forward to what Strange will Do, as before. He wants to overtake. I saw Strange holding his girlfriend's hand tightly, and then turning off the left turn signal. There is no option to overtake. See the situation. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. I think this might be able to change the timeline. But who would have thought? Just when they thought it was over, boom, the vehicle that caused the accident rear-ended it again. Let Strange and his girlfriend fall off the cliff. Boom. See the scene. Everyone was stunned. They thought they had changed a certain point in the timeline. You can change the follow-up point. But I didn't expect this vehicle to rear-end me again. What the hell? Damn it. Why did we rear-end you again? No. Can this cause a rear-end collision? Logically speaking, it shouldn't be possible, doesn't that mean that Strange has to watch his girlfriend die again? The hearts of countless people suddenly trembled. Even choked up. He obviously finally made up his mind to use the Eye of Agamotto at a huge risk. As a result, I watched my girlfriend die again. They all felt choked up and sad when they saw it. Not to mention Strange. How desperate must that be? No. No. Why is it like this again? Inside the car, Strange roared wildly. His voice was so angry, yet so powerless. He never expected it. I actually failed, but he was not discouraged. Instead, instantly perk up within seconds, then activate the Eye of Agamotto with both hands. In the blink of an eye, we returned to the original meeting. See the scene. The faces of countless people were solemn. They seemed to have seen something called a cycle. Once upon a time. Facing Dormammu, the supreme being of the dark dimension. Strange uses the cycle to force him back. And now, faced with the constant death of his girlfriend. Strange seems to be in a constant cycle again. But this time, people watching the video have a bad feeling. Strange seems to be falling into a cycle again. I feel like the death of his girlfriend seems impossible to change. The death of his girlfriend will not change because of Strange's change. It seems to be an eternal truth. Death will eventually take her life. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 230. How desperate must Strange be? Only seen in the video. Strange no longer takes that path. Want to change the waypoint, but when he was passing a traffic light, he was hit by a huge truck and died. Cycle again. He no longer had the option of going to the party prepared for him. Planning to stay at home. But he couldn't stand his girlfriend's repeated requests. Finally, we arrived at the dance without any danger. However, while dancing, my girlfriend died unexpectedly again. Cycle again. They came to a pizza shop. But the girlfriend was shot to death by the robber. Cycle again. Death from car tire blowout. Cycle again. Fall off a cliff and die. Cycle again. He wasn't going to keep the appointment. However, when I was drinking in the bar, but then he saw the news of his girlfriend's death. One scene after another flashed by. Countless people who were watching the video were frozen in place. It was as if their hearts would no longer beat. I felt a deathly silence. If it is said that in the battle with Dormammu, Strange could endure being killed countless times, but in the struggle against his girlfriend's fate, how could he endure his girlfriend dying in front of him countless times, accompanied by music that is tragic to the extreme? Strange finally collapsed. Why do things like this always happen? Don't we deserve happiness? Last cycle. Strange caressed his girlfriend's aged cheek. His voice was so weak. It even revealed the vicissitudes of life. And his girlfriend saw him like this. Although I don't know what happened. But she knew Strange must be frustrated. So she made a request to drive. On the way. It's that car again. Accompanied by a loud bang. Falling off the cliff again. Seeing this scene, countless people's hearts hurt as if they had been stabbed countless times with a knife. I even felt a big mountain pressing on me. Even they felt extremely hopeless. What about Strange? It is estimated that despair cannot be used to describe his mood. Watching his girlfriend die again and again, Strange will probably collapse. Yeah, if it were me, I wouldn't be able to bear it. After about 10 times. It shows how much he wants to resurrect his girlfriend. But is there really no other way? A way I guess there is no way. Except for time loop. I can't think of any way. If he has been trapped in a loop, how did Doctor Strange turn dark? Yes, what if Doctor Strange had been in this cycle, constantly trying to save his girlfriend? How did it turn black? All their previous assumptions were on point and now Strange has nothing but despair, so powerless there is absolutely no way to reverse this ending point. There was only one choice before him, and that was to give up. But at this moment Lin Lan's voice sounded in an instant. Their views on Strange underwent a qualitative change. After Strange became the Supreme Mage, he missed his girlfriend so much that he used the Eye of Agamotto to go back to the past and want to change his girlfriend's fate. But he failed. After failing again and again, and even countless times, he finally understood that his girlfriend's death was doomed. But is the only option before him to give up? No, of course not. He believes that there is definitely a way to change this outcome in the entire universe, even if it means destroying the entire world. As for why, it's because he loves her. Lin Lan's voice was sometimes low and sometimes high point, but the hearts of countless people have changed from despair and death to shocking passion. They seem to underestimate Strange's love for his girlfriend. Despite watching her die countless times, Strange still doesn't want to give up, even destroying the entire world. What a deep love this is. What a terrifying perseverance. They couldn't help but feel as if their hearts had set off a huge wave and couldn't calm down for a long time. He even believed in his heart that it was his love for his girlfriend that made him turn evil. But what is the process of his darkening? Countless people are full of anticipation at this moment and can't wait to know. At this moment in video Strange screamed hoarse full of his anger and unwillingness. He even knelt on the ground with his whole body weak. However, at this moment, in the eyes of countless people who were surprised and shocked, a circle of light appeared behind Strange. When a figure comes into people's eyes, everyone became excited. This is none other than the Supreme Mage who died in both videos, the Ancient One. Because I'm back in time. So Master Gui is not dead at this time. Good evening, Doctor Strange. Is your car broken down? Why are you here? Come to help you. This is the beginning of your journey. Help me get her back. When the Ancient One recounts Strange's timeline, Strange only said one sentence, and that was all he wanted to say. That is to help him and save his girlfriend. I'm sorry, I can't, and no one can. Her death is an absolute point in time on the timeline. Absolute point in time. When people hear this word again, it's hard not to think of Ragnarok. Although Thor, the god of thunder, already knew the prophecy and worked hard to prevent it from happening, it still came true in the end. Absolute, unchangeable, unerasable. Without her death, you would not be able to defeat Dormammu, become the Sorcerer Supreme, and become the Guardian of the Eye of Agamotto. If you erase her death, you would not be able to set out on your journey. I'm creating a paradox. You're risking the universe. You can't erase an absolute point in time. Go. Yifeng said calmly, but what's involved is so terrifying. Strange also stood up angrily and retorted, everything is possible. You taught me. I just need more power. The greatest magician in history cannot change the absolute point in time. Chapter 231. How do you know? Books are missing, and the library is destroyed. Stop torturing yourself. There is no hope. Go. Yi persuaded again and again. Strange, however, did not compromise. He was not willing to let his girlfriend die like this. Stephen, this road will only lead to the end of darkness and reality. Please don't do this. Otherwise don't blame me for being rude. After Gui finished speaking, he assumed a fighting stance. And Strange also urged the Eye of Agamotto without showing any signs of weakness, and said softly, then you can find me first and then talk. Accompanied by exciting music, the Ancient Mage launched a magic beam containing terrifying energy, which continuously bombarded Strange's body, and burst into a burst of fire, covering a radius of hundreds of meters, and swept away in all directions. The shock wave even caused the sea surface to rise hundreds of meters. See this scene. Countless people's hearts jumped into their throats. Did Strange die like this? Silence. Sorrow. Everyone sighed. Unexpectedly, Strange was not ordinary stubborn. Even if I die, I won't give up saving my girlfriend. However, just when they fell into a low pressure atmosphere point in the screen point, the fire lit up the entire sky point and a silky smooth transition appears. It turned into a cloudless sky point, then dragged the lens down point. When a figure came into their eyes, people who were still in sadness and mourning all opened their eyes because of this figure. Isn't it the Strange who was it just now? He is still alive. Moreover, where is this place? Countless people suddenly sat up straight, and their curiosity spread wildly. Could it be that this is where Strange began to turn dark? Point 138. Lost Book City. Time Manipulation. Sadness. Despair Novel Group 7. 1. 72 wines and 1 stew die in the real world. Point Camotage. Point at this time, Strange was stagnant in place. Point his heart was constantly washing away like a huge storm, making him feel extremely shocked, unexpectedly, in another world. In addition to using the time loop to fight against Dormammu, he would also use it to save his girlfriend and change her destiny. But what I never expected was, even if the ancient mage appears, he still insists on doing so. If there is any merit in him worthy of praise, then it means that he can endure the cycle that others cannot. Point even day after day. Point he can also accept it happily. Master. Ancient One. Steven, this is you in another world. You don't need to apologize to me for this. Go. Yifeng said calmly. Point he had already anticipated Strange's next move. Point, but he also felt helpless. What Strange in the other world lost was not his sound hands, but his true love. Point, so it is reasonable to embark on such a path of no return. Point, but at this moment. Point when both of them thought Strange was eliminated. Point, but another paradise appeared in the picture, and Strange's figure also appeared. Here it is. I saw that Gui could no longer remain calm. Point saw this place. Point a terrifying thought seemed to flash through his mind. Could this be Cagliostro's lost city of books was actually found by Strange? You must know that the collection of books in the Lost Book City is far from comparable to the library of Camotage. Point it has everything you need, including of course the magic that Strange needs. The thought of this Master Gui's face was filled with solemnity. Point, just like he said in the video. Point this road leads to the end of darkness and reality. Point, if you insist on going to the end. Point then Strange will indeed turn dark, as the author describes. Master, where is this place? Why do I come here? At this moment. Point Strange's face was full of shock and disbelief. Point he had no idea that he was not dead. Point instead, I came to a completely new place. Point places he had never seen before, and when he observed Master Gui's expression. Point it was immediately apparent that he must know where this place was. Can't help but be curious. Could it be that it was here that I turned black? This place has everything you want to know. Go. Yi seemed to be sighing. Point it's like fear. Then he put his hands behind his back and looked towards the dimensional platform. Point Strange heard this. My heart is extremely shocked. This place actually had everything he wanted to know. Doesn't that mean that there is also the magic to reverse the absolute point in time? You must know that it is in the previous dark book. Point I got this magic myself. Point, but when he realized the consequences of using it. Point I still remember the fear I felt at that time. Point, because of the consequences, naturally it may lead to the annihilation of the entire universe, and the self in the video found it here. Point will it go all the way to the end? While he was looking forward to it, he was also extremely worried. Strange is still alive. Where is this? Wait, he's not dead. That's great. I thought he was dead. This place looks like a paradise. Is he planning to live in seclusion here? No. Maybe he turned black here. Don't forget that Master Gui tried his best to dissuade him just now, but he couldn't make him give up. It shows that he is really determined. Even if the whole world is destroyed, he will give his girlfriend to save him. Hey, if Strange has any merit, I'm afraid it's right here. At this moment. Point when Strange's figure appeared in the picture. Point countless people are excited and inspired by this, but when the barrage mentioned that Strange might start to turn dark from now on. Point everyone's expectations were rising at this moment, and they were crazy to know what would happen to Strange here. So I shifted my attention to the dimensional platform again, and then watched. Video continues. The background music which was tense and exciting just now, immediately changed to soothing and soft, as if after fighting on the battlefield, I came to a paradise. Refreshing. At this time Strange opened his eyes. He looked down at his chest. I saw a large burn mark on it. It was obviously left behind by Master Gooey just now. But he only looked at it for a second. Chapter 232. Then his sixth sense told him that someone was watching him, so he suddenly tilted his head. The camera also followed the gaze. I saw a man standing there like a monk holding a scepter. Hi, hello, I'm looking for Cagliostro's lost city of books, the library. Do you understand? Silence. No. Response. Strange was a little embarrassed. Unexpectedly, the guy in front of him kept looking at him without speaking. But he didn't give up. Still continued. Hello, it's a place where you collect books, read, and acquire knowledge. Hey, I'm talking to you. Where are you going? Before he could finish speaking, the monk then walked forward. And Strange had no choice but to follow. The moment they walked through the jungle. He froze on the spot. In the picture, an extremely majestic building caught everyone's eyes, looking full of vicissitudes of time. See this scene. Countless people understood why Strange came here. Naturally, I want to find a way to reverse the absolute point in time and save my girlfriend. They vaguely remembered what Strange told the Ancient One, that Kamatage's collection of books was too small, and the majestic building in front of him now is obviously Cagliostro's lost book city that he needs to find. Can't help but look forward to it. Will Strange be able to find the magic he needs? The background music became a little nervous at this time, as if a needle was piercing the body, but it didn't penetrate. The nerves of countless people began to tighten, and they stared at the two figures in the video. No entrance? How clever. Strange use the portal directly to reach the top of the building. Just when I was about to find the entrance point, however, the formation within it fell to the bottom and saw the monk again. You are truly the most bizarrely dressed mage I have ever seen, isn't it? I'm just like Harmony. I'm here to meet the mage Cagliostro. According to legend, he holds the secret of breaking through the absolute point in time. Where should I find him? The secret of breaking through the absolute point of time. At this moment. Asgard. The whole hall was silent. The god stared at Strange in the video. His face was full of shock and excitement. It's exactly what countless people thought. Strange came here really to break through the magic of absolute time. The thought of this, how could they not be excited? Because Ragnarok is also an absolute point in time, no matter how hard Thor tries to stop it. But there is no way to avoid it. Even Doctor Strange got the magic to reverse the absolute point in time from the real world. But the price is too terrifying. It has been expressly forbidden by Odin and Frigga, and now Strange in the video is about to find another way. So can this approach be successful? They can't wait to find out. If Strange in this video succeeds, then we in Asgard will succeed too. Cagliostro, I remember you. At this time. Loki was also quite excited. Doesn't he regard Asgard as his home and his heart? How could he hope that his home would really be destroyed? See his excitement. The corners of Thor's mouth rose slightly. Although his younger brother deserves a beating. But I really want to hug him right now. But he didn't do that. Instead, he shifted his attention to the dimensional platform. As a future king. He must gather his energy to observe. If this magic works, then he will find this place called the Lost Book City at all costs. Ask for flowers. If it doesn't work, he looks for another way. It is impossible for him to give up his country and people. At this time. Video continues. My name is Aban, librarian of Cagliostro. Follow me, Master Harmony. No, my name is Strange. Strange retorted. Obviously the Auburn in front of him took the clothing brand he just mentioned as his name. But Auburn doesn't care what his name is, just keep moving forward. Then a heavy door opened. When the scene inside came into everyone's eyes, it brought people a huge visual impact and spiritual shock. In the center of the hall, a pink tree like a cherry blossom stood quietly. Then the camera looks up. On the wall several hundred meters high, countless books are neatly placed there, making people involuntarily compare them with Kamatage's library. The books here can simply be described as an ocean of knowledge. How long do you plan to stay here? Until I find what I'm looking for. Strange's attention was entirely on the books. Auburn heard this not much was said point, so he turned around and left, leaving Strange alone. Point at this time point the background music gradually became more exciting and enthusiastic. Point he looked like he was getting ready for a big fight. Make countless people excited. There must be tens of thousands of books here, not just 100,000. But is there a book that Strange wants? That's what everyone wants to know. Whoops. I saw Strange activating the magic point. All the magic books on the bookcase were separated from the air and then floated in the air. Under his urging, one after another came to him. Transformation, mind-breaking, teleportation. As Strange passed one magic book after another, he called out his name point, and when people who are watching the video hear the magic point, his face was full of shock and envy. It felt like a stormy sea had set off in my heart, and I couldn't calm down for a long time. Any of these magic books, they are all the existences they dream of. However, here, it seems to be the lowest and most ordinary. They couldn't help but imagine what kind of terrifying and powerful magic there was inside. But just when countless people were shocked, point Strange's words shocked them even more. Time manipulation technique found. Time manipulation. He found it. He found it. He really found the time manipulation technique. I'll go. This magic really does exist. What kind of terrifying existence is this lost book city? It has this kind of magic. I really want to see it. I want to go see it too. I don't have any other intention. I just want to gain some knowledge. I'm embarrassed to expose you. Are you here to gain knowledge? If possible, please take me with you. Countless people were extremely excited. Point I feel like the blood in my whole body is surging. Point then he fixed his gaze on Strange. Chapter 233. I saw him opening the book. Point a bright red and extremely familiar symbol caught everyone's eyes. Then the background music started to get weird. Suddenly, people who were extremely excited just now felt a chill on their backs and their whole bodies were trembling because they remember this symbol very clearly. Isn't it the symbol that the traitors of Karmataj used to sacrifice Dormammu before? Is this time manipulation book also a forbidden book? A book about dark dimensions? Damn it. The hearts of countless people were beating loudly, and their nerves were extremely tense at this moment. They think about it now. Point Doctor Strange will darken such a thing. Now such a symbol on the time manipulation technique immediately connects them. Point people can't help but start to worry. Point once Doctor Strange really uses this spell, he will definitely go down a path of no return, and even his soul will be swallowed by darkness. But the next second, point Strange's actions made them completely despair. He's really going to use this magic. Factory 139. Absorbing biological blackness. There are two Stranges in one universe. Breaking through the absolute point in time requires extremely powerful power and is unreachable. Yes, isn't this obvious? Video continues. I saw Strange flipping through page after page looking at time manipulation techniques and try to understand the above words. It's obvious. If you want to break through the absolute point in time, you will definitely need extremely powerful power, but the problem is that his current strength is not strong enough. Point however, when he turned to the next page, he was overjoyed. Finally he found a way. Absorb other creatures to gain power. Wait, absorb. At this moment, point Strange finally figured out how to increase his powers, but he had never seen it. Point I even felt surprised. Point didn't expect to absorb other creatures to gain power. It's not just him. Point the viewers who were watching the video gasped. It felt like my heart was about to burst out of my chest. They were already in despair because Strange chose to use this magic. Point what shocked them even more now was that the way to increase strength was to absorb other creatures. This is simply beyond their imagination. Devil. This is definitely a spell that only demons can use. You actually have to absorb other creatures to enhance your own strength? Isn't this too scary? 4. Dark magic. Maybe this is nothing. Gudan. Countless people swallowed hard. Point my whole body couldn't help but tremble. Point it was like being in hell. Bleak and full of endless fear only seen in the screen. Point on a round table. Point Strange has been reading this book on time manipulation. Point accompanied by mysterious background music. Point the extremely smooth transition appears again. Point the moment he closed the book and activated the spell, 627. The circular platform directly turned into an orange circular formation and burst out with extremely dazzling light, dimming the surrounding area. Let's start. Strange didn't hesitate at all point, even though he felt very strange and worried about absorbing living things, but he still crossed his hands resolutely and then spurted magic energy into the magic circle. Roar. Beast-like roars resounded. The whole world seemed to be shaking. In the huge magic circle, when a burst of light illuminated it again, huge tentacles extended out one after another, as if they were going to fill the entire book city. See this scene. The pupils of countless people dilated rapidly. The heart is beating loudly. Isn't the tentacle in front of me the same tentacle monster that disappeared with Peggy? They vaguely remember the terrifying power of this guy. Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Strange. I summoned you here to borrow your power. I wonder if you would like to borrow one or two tentacles. Hearing Strange's words, countless people looked at him as if they were a fool. Did you hear that right? He's actually begging for a tentacle monster. Good guy. How can it understand? Really? In the silent eyes of countless people, the tentacle monster wrapped its huge tentacles around Strange's feet and then beat and twisted crazily. Reminds countless people of the scene where Loki was beaten violently. Strange is soon seen being beaten unconscious. See this scene. Countless people breathed a sigh of relief. Of course not because Strange got beat up. But because after he was knocked unconscious, he would probably not try this magic again. But will Strange give up? Of course not. This is also what people are worried about. When Strange was beaten unconscious, the scene changes. He was already lying on the bed. When he opened his eyes, he saw Auburn taking care of him. What happened? Mysterious creatures never bargain, and their powers do not apply to humans. Here, Auburn's words. Strange didn't care at all. Just like everyone thought. Strange doesn't even understand what giving up means. It's impossible to do it, and he can't understand it either. The library alone is not enough. Those mysterious creatures have what I need. Is she worthy of your exhaustion? A person would not endure such pain for the sake of glory. After Auburn said this, Strange's expression turned serious unexpectedly. Auburn already knew his purpose. It seems that Auburn is also a very powerful mage, although he said he was a librarian. But maybe he is Cagliostro. Faces problems. Strange replied in a deep voice. I'm always ready to sacrifice myself. Buzzes. She worthy of your concern? I'm always ready to sacrifice myself. When Strange gave his answer, countless people were choked with sobs. I even felt a sour feeling rushing into my eyes. For my girlfriend. Strange has done enough, but he is still ready to sacrifice himself without hesitation. Not only is he a superhero, he is also a man who loves his girlfriend deeply. There is a fine line between piety and delusion. And love will not only break your heart, but destroy your sanity. Auburn heard Strange's reply. Chapter 234. Turn around and leave. Compared to the Ancient One. He didn't interfere too much with Strange's choice. Which book did you read this in? It's not books, Harmony. It's life that taught me this. The dim light and shadow fell on Auburn's body. Accompanied by low and melodious music. Like a pilgrim who has gone through countless pains from his face. You can see the traces of time. Finished. Auburn is gone. Strange lay on the bed and read it carefully. Maybe Auburn is right. Is Auburn right? What happened? Has Strange figured it out? People's tense nerves relaxed again. Although I can't believe it. But coming from Strange's mouth himself was so convincing. So they all felt relieved. Strange was finally willing to listen to others' dissuasion. But what they didn't expect was the silky transition appears again. Strange, who was originally lying on the bed, appeared in the bookstore just now. Then he said, if they cling to power, then I'll accept it and take my time. Everyone at #. Good guy. I thought he really listened to Auburn's dissuasion. Who would have thought that he actually agreed with Auburn's words about mysterious creatures? All of a sudden, countless people were furious. He even complained like crazy. But when they saw Strange activate the spell again, he couldn't help but look solemn. They knew Strange wouldn't give up. But this time, can he succeed? The background music becomes increasingly intense and high-pitched. It's Like walking back and forth in front of the gate of hell. It makes people nervous and full of expectations at the same time. I wonder what Strange will summon again this time. But at this time, when Strange activated the spell again and poured all the energy into the magic circle. I saw the magic circle blooming with dazzling light again, but this time, it's no longer the terrifying tentacle monster before, but an extremely small humanoid creature that doesn't seem to be a deterrent. And he was still mumbling something incomprehensible. Strange didn't hesitate at all. The extremely terrifying yellow beam was released directly from the eyes and mouth, and then bombarded the monster, dragging it bit by bit, and then integrated into Strange's body. Boom, boom, boom. See this scene. Countless people's faces were filled with looks of horror. My heart felt as if it had been hit by a huge bombardment, trembling violently. Strange actually succeeded. He succeeded. He succeeded. Sure enough, Strange is indeed a magic genius. How long did it take him to learn this magic? Wait, this shouldn't be a happy thing, right? Strange, a creature that absorbs the dark dimension, is destined to fall into darkness. That's right. This behavior has a huge cost. Just like what Auburn said. Love will not only break his heart, it will also destroy his sanity. Even his perseverance is commendable. But no one knows what he will become after turning black mage. Does this kind of magic really exist in this world? At this moment. Camotage. Strange himself felt very uncomfortable inside. Although swallowing living things made him a little disgusted. But what made him most uncomfortable was the dark aura. It's hard not to think of the traitor he once was, has become a paranoid. Yes, this magic exists, but the price is also extremely huge. When the Ancient One saw this magic. I can't calm down anymore. It wasn't until he saw the magic of this place that he realized that he was the frog in the well. The collection of books in the library is more like a corner of a lost book city, which cannot be put on the table at all. I couldn't help but start to worry about the other world. If Doctor Strange succeeds, then he will definitely break through the absolute point in time. It will inevitably cause turmoil in the world, but in the end, who can stop him? Another me? No. Can't stop it. Guyi's heart was extremely heavy. Doctor Strange was originally the most outstanding of their sorcerers supreme. If he was given the power to break through the absolute point in time, that is equivalent to having the power to change the rules of the world. He alone cannot stop it. So I turned my attention to the video again, praying in my heart that Strange would be able to turn around. Video continues when Strange succeeded in his attempt. Once, twice, 3 times, or even countless times. Over time. The mysterious creatures he summoned became more and more powerful. And not only did he get a terrifying cloak, but his body also turned into the red color of a fire dragon, descending into the world like a real demon. Countless people saw this scene. They all held their breath and concentrated. Strange is growing at an alarming rate in the video. No, not so much growth. It's better to say it's evolution. Each time a terrifying creature is absorbed. He has acquired corresponding abilities and characteristics, as if he has evolved stronger, even more terrifying, even more mysterious divine objects are absorbed by him. He is also becoming more and more powerful. He has gone astray. I could have warned him and stopped him, but in his universe, his fate is not worth the sacrifice of others, and I don't think he will listen. Just as Strange devoured the more powerful creature. The screen zooms out. The observer's figure appears in the video, as if it has penetrated several dimensions, and the voice just now was what he said. But what everyone didn't expect was Strange suddenly turned his head, as if looking at the observer, and asked behind the empty person, "Hello, who is it?" Exclamation mark. Chapter 235. Did he feel the observer? At this time. The faces of countless people were full of horror and fear. My heart felt like a tsunami rising into the sky, overwhelmingly impacting my heart. They couldn't believe that Strange was now so powerful that he could sense the existence of observers. Hiss, what a terrifying thing. Countless people took a breath of cold air. Then I saw it on the screen again. Strange absorbs mysterious creatures day after day and year after year. Never left here, there, has been a qualitative leap in strength. At this time point thrilling music played. Strange's eyes were extremely determined, and he murmured, as if he had made up his mind, time to meet an old friend. But the magic circle was activated again. When Strange said these words, a familiar figure appeared on the magic circle again. It's the very first tentacle monster. Strange raised his hand and waved, and countless thick tentacles were cut off and absorbed by him. When he opened his eyes, an invisible pressure was released. Let everyone who is watching the video tremble all over. It's like looking at a being like Dormammu, just by looking at it. There is a chill that wraps around the whole body. Strange was then seen to stop absorbing the mysterious creature. Instead, he planned to meet Auburn. However, when Auburn's figure came into people's eyes, countless people exclaimed on the spot, because Auburn in the video is already 1.3 gray-haired. They couldn't help but start to think about how much time Strange spent absorbing mysterious creatures. Auburn. What's wrong with you? Time flies, Master Harmony, Auburn said as he coughed. It was obvious that he was dying. See this scene. Without any hesitation, Strange planned to use the Eye of Agamotto to help Auburn regain its youth. But he refused. Don't be like this. You used magic to stay frozen for hundreds of years, but I chose to live. But I can turn back time so that you can live longer and live forever. Strange could handle being alone. Even if he keeps himself frozen for hundreds of years in order to become stronger. Hear their conversations. Countless people also respect Strange even more. Facing Dormammu, he can endure countless cycles now in order to save his girlfriend. He can absorb mysterious creatures for hundreds of years. Just think about it. It just feels boring and unbearable. Stop it. In your world, death is part of your plan. I cannot accept death. I know, but the other Doctor Strange can take it. Other Doctor Strange, don't you understand? You are not a complete person. Half of your life is missing. Other Doctor Strange, is it possible that there is more than one Doctor Strange in this universe? Countless people's eyes lit up. They all sat up straight. Although they know Doctor Strange is slightly different in each universe. But this is the first time they have heard that there are two Doctor Strange in the same universe. Curiosity is spreading wildly at this moment. Lin Lan Novel Exchange Group. 703,216,220. They are looking forward to whether there will be a wonderful scene between Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange. 140. Ancient One's crazy behavior. The two Doctor Strange meet. What? There are actually two Stranges in this universe? How is this possible? Although, now I know the concept of multiverse, but you told me that there are two universes? Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Why are there two Stranges? Could it be that the other one is the good Strange? In that case, could they two fight? Hey, if this is the case, there will be a good show. The two Strangers are really interesting. At this moment, when people know that there are two Strangers in this universe, they were extremely excited. Have they ever seen two identical characters appear at the same time? Even the original Spider-Man, they have never seen the same frame, so they are very much looking forward to the meeting of the two Strangers and want to know what kind of sparks the two will stir up. Should we work together to save our girlfriend? Or should we fight on the opposite side? At this time, Camotage. Stranger's face showed shock at first, and then confusion. Originally, he thought that absorbing mysterious creatures for hundreds of years would be shocking enough. But I didn't expect that there would be two of me in another universe. Although the multiverse has endless mysteries, but now he must also admit his ignorance. This incident had a huge impact on him. Master, why can there be two me in the same universe? Strange asked the ancient master like a student eager for knowledge. Fortunately, he has learned a lot of magic now, and even obtained the extremely terrifying Dark God book. But in front of Guyi, he had already put aside his pride and prejudice. Completely different from the blackened self in the video. He is willing to listen to what others have to say. In an instant. Master Guyi flapped the folding fan in his hand. He seemed to be looking for a suitable reason to explain to him. Do you still remember the time travel that the Avengers took back in time? They didn't change the timeline, they just went back to the past. In the same way, according to Auburn, you in the other world in 09 should be split into two Half of you proceed according to the original timeline, while the other half goes back to the past, and because you are in the Lost Book City, the timeline will not be disturbed. But at this time point, when Strange heard Master Guyi's explanation it became clear instantly. It turns out that the universe does not have two selves, but it is just divided into two, like the good and evil sides, completely separated. So that's it. The Dark and me will definitely come to find my other half, right? I hope he can defeat that guy. Strange looked solemn. He shifted his attention to the dimensional platform. He knew that after his darkened self found out that half of his power was missing, he would definitely look for the other half. So he is looking forward to the kind half of himself being able to defeat the darkened self. At this moment video continues in the expectant eyes of countless people. The scene shifted directly from the blackening of Doctor Strange to the scene at the beginning. I saw the other half of Doctor Strange sitting in front of the window of the temple. When the king turned to leave the background music changed from fast and tight to soothing and soft. It was as if he had just taken a breath and then released it. You're right, remembering the past is enough for one night. I just saw that Strange and his other half Strange acted differently. He followed the king's advice and stood up and put down the Eye of Agamotto. Chapter 236. See this scene. People breathed a sigh of relief. It even seems to see hope, since the other half of Doctor Strange still retains his sanity. Can he protect the world from the blackened other half? It seems that this half of Doctor Strange is good. In that case, there is still hope of saving the world. Yes, I'm looking forward to the meeting of the two Doctor Strange more and more. They will definitely fight because of their different ideas. I say it's a disagreement in ideas, but it's actually the darkened Doctor Strange who wants the other half of his power. Either the good Doctor Strange helps him, or he will be absorbed by him like other mysterious creatures. That's right. There are only two choices before the good Doctor Strange. Or help darkened Doctor Strange. Or just fight him. But the probability of winning is too low. After all, the blackened Doctor Strange has absorbed mysterious creatures for hundreds of years, and he can even sense the existence of observers. It can be seen that the power of the blackened Doctor Strange can no longer be described as terrifying. At this time Strange put on his cloak, stopped worrying about the past, and wanted to come outside the temple to breathe fresh air. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and the flowers are fragrant. A natural and harmonious scene. Not only did it make him feel relaxed and refreshed, but even the people watching the video felt peaceful, and even felt that Strange was good at protecting the world like this. However, they didn't have long to enjoy it. The background music suddenly became terrifying, and there was a sense of crisis everywhere. In an instant, countless people's hearts jumped into their throats, and their nerves became tense at this moment. It was like the end of the world was coming, making their whole bodies tremble. They felt a strong pressure and wanted to escape uncontrollably. I saw the camera following Strange's gaze. Cars, houses, trees, and even people on the street seemed to be sucked by something, and wisps of black liquid as viscous as petroleum continued to emerge and then flew into the air, and the infection spreads extremely quickly. One piece after another was eroded in an instant. Seeing this scene, the faces of countless people were full of horror. They didn't expect it. No action has been taken to darken Doctor Strange. But his actions and existence have brought the entire world to the brink of collapse. If he tries to break through the absolute time point, what will happen? Destroy. That's right. Eventually the whole world will be destroyed. Scary, silent, tense. People's pupils dilated rapidly, as if their whole bodies were tense on a string. My heart seems to be beating faster and faster, faster and faster. They wanted to know crazily what this good Strange would do, but at this moment a very familiar blue light circle appeared again. A familiar figure walked out of it. But compared to before, this figure is like a virtual projection. It is Master Guyi. Hello, Steven. No, wait, you're not dead. Yes, you can think of me as a spiritual projection transmitted through the cracks in reality. I saw the ancient master coming. Strange had many questions in his mind that he wanted to ask. But what I want to say most now is probably the strange sight in front of me. I'm actually thinking it must be the end of the world. Right, that's right. You are always so perceptive, but I'm afraid we don't have much time. Although Ancient One is just a reflection point, but his words were filled with concern. It's just that he always behaves calmly and calmly. Put your hands behind your back and look into the distance. Who is causing trouble? It's you. Strange looked confused. Originally, he thought it was a creature from the dark dimension like Dormammu. But I didn't expect it to be me. But why is it me? How can it be? As Doctor Strange, you used the Eye of Agamotto to escape into the past. Even I can't track you. I can only draw power from the dark dimension, split the timeline, and split you. From this you are split into two timelines coexisting in one universe. Boom, boom, boom. When people hear the words of the Ancient One, it was as if a deep sea bomb exploded in their hearts, extremely shocking and trembling wildly. However, they already knew how powerful Ancient One Mage was, and saw how easily he could deal with traitors, but I never thought that Master Guyi had such terrifying power. Even the timeline can be split. At the same time, the person is also divided into two. What a heaven-defying power. Oh my god, I thought Master Ancient One was strong enough, but I didn't expect it to be so terrifying. I just asked why there are two strangers in the same universe. It turned out that they were split apart by the Ancient One Mage. Isn't this too scary? When Guyi finished speaking these words, the translucent screen appears again. It's like a memory. Back to the bottom of the cliff again. When the Ancient Mage bombarded Strange with a magic beam. The screen is divided into two. On the left is Doctor Strange, who is searching for the lost book of Cagliostro, and then turning black. On the right is Doctor Strange, who chose not to dwell on the past and continue to protect the world. At this time, when Strange heard the words of the Ancient One Master, he couldn't help but frown. Split the timeline into two. What a dangerous move. Two timelines? I disagree with the way you handle it. It's very dangerous indeed. So now I have an evil twin. It is more accurate to call it lost. If another Strange succeeds in reversing the absolute point in time, the resulting time paradox will destroy the universe, leaving us little time. I'm afraid the only mage who has the ability to stop Doctor Strange is you, Doctor Strange. Finished. Ancient One's reflection disappeared directly in place. People who were watching the video were silent. My heart is extremely heavy. It's not just the Ancient One who has pinned his hopes on Strange. They also placed their hopes on him. I saw Strange watching Guyi leave. Return to the temple. Activate spells with the king to create magic similar to defense. So the structure of reality is collapsing. It was caused by you and can only be ended by you, right? To be honest, we've experienced weirder things. Strange was unimpressed. They had all faced terrifying and weird things like Dormammu. Do you still care about this? But Wang's next words caused him to fall into a brief silence. But will you stop him? Don't you love this, Christine? Strange lowered his eyes, then he raised his head and saw that the king in front of him was constantly eroding like everyone else. So he replied, I have no other choice but to at least save you. Here. The words, the king mobilized all the magic power in his body and then shouted in a deep voice, Wishan Emperor's Guardian powerful protection spell. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 237. Glitter. The curse seals suspended in the air flew toward Strange one after another and formed a curse seal on his forehead. The defensive power of Wishan Emperor's powerful protective spell is amazing. Able to withstand devastating 627 blows. This is also Strange's trump card when he dares to fight against the other evil twin. How did you find him, Wang? Said the most crucial thing. If you can't find another Strange, then the collapse of the world will never stop. However, Strange didn't wait for an answer. The background music is suddenly scary. The countless people who had been praying for Strange just now were startled, and their whole bodies twitched involuntarily. Then in their shocked eyes, the surroundings suddenly darkened, and a scalloped magic aperture appeared at Strange's feet. It seems he found me. Whoosh. Before Strange could react point it fell directly point and just like time travel, it passed through a long time and space tunnel and then landed heavily on the ground. See this scene point countless people swallowed hard point extremely nervous. All I saw was darkness. After Strange got up from the ground, he looked around. Where am I? When he said this a strange cry came from afar. He instantly looked in that direction nervously point, and with the help of the weak light of the magic circle point everyone saw a monster figure with huge wings, like 4 heads and 6 arms. Boom, boom, boom point people's faces were full of horror. My heart beat wildly point they know that monster must be the Black and Strange, because they vaguely remember that every time Strange absorbs a mysterious creature, he will gain corresponding abilities and characteristics, whether it is a red dragon or a bat point. So they were not surprised that the Black and Strange looked like this. It was more frightening and terrifying, but at this moment point the monster's figure transformed into a human form point walking towards this side step by step point. The sound of footsteps echoed throughout the space point. It's like a death countdown bell roaring in the ears of countless people. My heart is also beating wildly. They couldn't help but tremble crazily all over their bodies, feeling as if they were facing a more terrifying existence than Dormammu, which made them feel afraid. Even people watching their videos can feel this coercion point. What about Strange in the video? How does he feel? Can he defeat his darkened self and save the world again? While countless people were nervous, anticipation was spreading crazily, staring at the screen. Point 141. After centuries of reincarnation, the two of them competed against each other. Where am I? You should ask this. Which timeline are you on? Don't be afraid, old friend, because you and I are one. Video continues. Countless people stared at the video with great nervousness. My heart was beating wildly, as if it was about to burst out of my chest point. When they saw the Black and Doctor Strange appear, goosebumps all over my body. Compared with before point, the now Black and Doctor Strange has visibly darkened eye circles, and the evil and devouring energy exuding from his body, accompanied by the terrifying background music, seems to break through the screen and infect everyone. The darkened Doctor Strange has become stronger again. What about the other Doctor Strange? This feeling is very bad. I feel like I'm looking at someone even more terrifying than Dormammu. Strange is definitely dead now. No, I believe that Strange on the left will definitely win. As the saying goes, evil cannot prevail against good. He will definitely be able to defeat the dark and other half. Countless people became even more nervous, although they are based on past experience. Point the one who thinks right in his heart will win point. But ask yourself point, they must think that the darkened Doctor Strange is more powerful point, far from being comparable to another Doctor Strange. So they are now very curious about what the final result will be. Video continues. The sound of footsteps echoed throughout the dark space point. I saw the Black and Doctor Strange arriving in front of Doctor Strange in the blink of an eye point. They both have the same cloak and the same figure point. On the left is the good Doctor Strange, and on the right is the darkened Doctor Strange point. Looking at the darkened other half of myself point, Doctor Strange frowned point. Then he asked in disbelief, "What happened to you?" Although the blackened self in front of him still looks the same point, but he could feel that this blackened self could no longer be called a human being point. It seems to be a hybrid, integrating countless mysterious creatures. Indescribable. I saw that the blackened Doctor Strange was calm point. There was no direct answer to his question point. Instead, state your purpose. I only need you, not Wang or ancient Yi. They can't understand it. They don't know her at all. But we all know her and love her deeply. The blackened Doctor Strange said at the same time point. The 5 fingers of his right hand were also clenched tightly point. It was as if his heart had been grasped, and the pain was immense point. It's like the frustration of trying to catch someone who's already dead, but being unable to do so point. His eyes revealed the vicissitudes of time as he looked at Doctor Strange. There was even a sense of empathy in his words, trying to infect Doctor Strange. You can't resurrect her. The world outside is collapsing. Doctor Strange speaks righteously point, not affected by his darkened self at all point. Now he is Doctor Strange and a superhero who protects the world point. It is impossible to let the whole world mourn for your own selfish desires. Don't even try to lie to me. I'm you. Here. The words of Doctor Strange. The Black and Doctor Strange was angry. He is extremely angry. He couldn't believe why his other self didn't care about Christine and then talked nonsense about the destruction of the world. Whoops. The wind howled. The Black and Doctor Strange seems to have endless magical power overflowing from his body. A blazing flame formed and wrapped around the whole body, and one after another, indescribable creatures emerged from his body. Fortunately, he controlled it in time. Only then can I be at peace. Then he walked towards Doctor Strange and shouted in a deep voice, "How many nights did we sit in the temple, holding the time stone in our hands? Knowing that we could go back to the past, but we couldn't muster the courage. But I mustered up the courage. In the reincarnation of several centuries, I sacrificed everything for Christine. Centuries of reincarnation." Although people are very afraid of the black version of Doctor Strange. But when they heard this sentence, it felt like a huge wave had set off in my heart, and I couldn't calm down for a long time. Although only a dozen reincarnation scenes flashed through the video. But who would have thought that it would take centuries for Doctor Strange to become black? Oh my god, what a soulful person, what a pitiful person. It has been reincarnated for several centuries? This is too crazy. Chapter 238. Hi. I didn't expect that he would be reincarnated more times than I thought. It was only one night, but he was reincarnated for hundreds of years. It's hard for me to count how many times he has been reincarnated. Coupled with the hundreds of years in the Lost Book City, I am always ready to devote myself. I still remember this sentence, darkening Doctor Strange. He really loves Christine. The Black and Doctor Strange deserves a respect, but someone must stop him. Yes, who can endure the perseverance of darkening Doctor Strange? Not only has it gone through hundreds of years of reincarnation, but it has also used these hundreds of years to absorb mysterious creatures again. This boring life is too torturous. It seems like a long road that cannot be penetrated at a glance. How many people can persist? He did it. Why? Because he is always ready to sacrifice himself for Christine. He commanded the respect or of everyone watching the video. Only his existence is a huge crisis for this world. Someone has to stop him. Video continues. When the Black and Doctor Strange finished, these words came in front of Doctor Strange. The picture looks like it is split in two. But when people look closely, they realize that the line between the two of them is not a video special effect. It's more like a time wall. It means that the two people come from different timelines. Can you save her now? No, Steven, we can. The eyes of the Black and Doctor Strange were as sharp as an eagle. Then he grabbed Doctor Strange, as if he had penetrated the time wall, and teleported to the point in time when the two were split by the Ancient One, which was the moment of Christine's death. Our abilities are spread out and weakened. If we become one, we can save her. The Black and Doctor Strange led Doctor Strange to the car, looking at the dead Christine inside. There was hope in his tone. That's right. Even though he absorbed hundreds of years of mysterious creatures, but I always feel that my strength is not strong enough. The reason is incompleteness. If not for Auburn reminder, maybe he hasn't realized this yet. Now I have found my other half. After combining the two into one, he is completely sure to break through the absolute time and rescue Christine. You couldn't have saved her. Doctor Strange stood behind him and said in frustration. Although I watched Christine die in front of me again. But the difference between him and the Black and Doctor Strange is that he knows that the past cannot be changed, and the only thing he can do is to look forward. But at this moment. The background music suddenly became terrifying, and the sound of the violin was like fingernails scratching on the glass, which made countless people get goosebumps all over the floor, and they became uncontrollably nervous. The camera zoomed in until Doctor Strange became black. When Doctor Strange said it was impossible. He slowly turned his head, his body filled with the pressure of a strong man, and said slowly like a demon, "You don't believe it, do you? Then just wait and see." The atmosphere became anxious and solemn, as if a war was about to begin, which made countless people tense up and stare at the two Doctor Strange in the video. Doctor Strange tried to dissuade him again. The Ancient One warned us that if we save Christine, the world will be destroyed. I told her she couldn't understand it, but we love Christine. The Black and Doctor Strange took a step forward. He put his hand on Doctor Strange's shoulder. What a joke. How do guys like Guyi and Wang understand his love for Christine? For her, he tried at all costs, tried in countless reincarnations, and even absorbed mysterious creatures, turning into this neither human nor ghost. How could they understand this kind of deep love? This is not love. Look around. This is arrogance. We have to get everything back on track. This is the original intention of learning magic. Doctor Strange flicks away the hand of the Black and Doctor Strange. He completely disagrees with the latter. Although some people can fight against the whole world for the one they love. But destroying the whole world for the one you love is arrogance and has nothing to do with love. It's all based on one's will and imposed on the whole world. Look at where we are now. The Black and Doctor Strange is still persuading. But Doctor Strange didn't want to talk anymore. He thought that the other half in front of him was crazy and even possessed. You're crazy. My soul will be complete soon. No, you have gone crazy a long time ago. But the world still has a glimmer of hope. Roar. A low roar sounded like a predator before attacking its prey. Before Doctor Strange could finish speaking, the Black and Doctor Strange instantly spurted out the surging magical power in his body from his eyes and mouth, continuously bombarding Doctor Strange's body, trying to absorb it like other mysterious creatures. But I didn't expect that the golden curse mark on Doctor Strange's face directly resisted this attack. You can't save her. She's already dead. When Doctor Strange said this, it did not serve to dissuade. Instead, it angered the Black and Doctor Strange even more. I saw the latter condensing the endless magic power in his body on his hands, forming a red magic light ball. The terrifying energy instantly set off strong winds and huge waves, as if Wang Heo seemed to have destroyed the surrounding space. It all caused ripples and ripples, creating a huge momentum. When Doctor Strange in the distance saw this scene, he also created a powerful golden magic shield. The background music gradually becomes intense and high-pitched. Make countless people feel excited. The two haven't started fighting yet. But the momentum created brought them a terrifying visual impact. It's hard to imagine what a shocking scene it would be if the two of them actually fought. Sure enough, the Vision Emperor magic used by Doctor Strange can resist this absorption attack. It seems that blackening Doctor Strange can't do anything to Doctor Strange. I think Doctor Strange will definitely win. That's not necessarily true. I do think that the black version of Doctor Strange can win. For such an affectionate guy, I really hope he can succeed. Doctor Strange has said that that is not called love, that is arrogance. If he succeeds, it will inevitably lead to the destruction of the entire universe. I hope Doctor Strange can win. At this moment, while the two Doctor Stranges were fighting each other, two different voices also sounded on the barrage. One is hoping that Doctor Strange can win and save the world. The other is to hope that the darkened Doctor Strange can win. They hope that this affectionate guy can save his girlfriend and make up for his regrets, but they know that even discussion is useless. So he shifted his attention to the man on the dimensional platform. The atmosphere is getting more and more anxious. The eyes of both of them seem to be bursting with lightning. The war is about to break out. 142. Doctor Strange is defeated. Darkening winds. Video continues. Whoops. At this moment, the Black and Doctor Strange instantly sprayed out the two magic energy balls in his hand, causing bursts of whistling sounds that broke through the air and then flew in front of Doctor Strange amid the lightning and flint. See the situation. Doctor Strange blocked the magic shield in front of him. Boom. An earth-shattering explosion resounded through the sky. The two magic energy balls instantly merged to form a larger magic energy ball and then suddenly bombarded the magic shield. The powerful impact caused Doctor Strange to continuously slide backwards, leaving behind traces on the ground. After making two deep scratches, the magic energy ball exploded with a bang. Countless fires burned and overflowed. The shock wave of the explosion caused wave after wave of waves in the sea behind Doctor Strange. Countless people saw this scene, and their hearts were extremely heavy. They didn't expect that the power of the Black and Doctor Strange was so powerful. Even though Doctor Strange used all his strength, He slid back dozens of meters. Before everyone could react, the Black and Doctor Strange leaps directly into the sky. Another magic energy ball was released again, breaking the magic shields created by Doctor Strange one after another. It's time for you to stop, Doctor Strange roared while resisting. Chapter 239. Obviously, he was not willing to fight his doc and self. If this continues, it will only speed up the collapse of the world. However, the Black and Doctor Strange also snorted. His mind has been made up, and no matter what Doctor Strange says, it is impossible to change his mind. I've gone too far. I can't look back. Finished. The background music suddenly became weird. It was as if some wild beast had awakened, causing countless people to tremble and feel a chill running from their backs to the sky. I saw the Black and Doctor Strange looking fierce, and then the 5 fingers of his left hand began to deform, like the tentacles of an octopus, full of power, but also with extremely strong binding power. It seems that he is serious about blackmailing Doctor Strange. Boom. The dull sound of impact resounded, and the Black and Doctor Strange dived directly towards Doctor Strange from high altitude. The huge left hand, like an octopus tentacle, easily shattered Doctor Strange's magic shield and pinched him fiercely. He grabbed his neck and then suddenly pushed against the wall behind him, creating a huge 630-degree dent, with countless gravel and dust flying. Just when the Black and Doctor Strange was about to absorb it again, before he could cast a spell, Doctor Strange used the Wishing Emperor defensive seal cast on his face to release a powerful magical lightning, blasting the Black and Doctor Strange away. Several dozen meters away, the background music is intense and high-pitched. Every frame of battle brings a huge visual impact to people. They had never seen 2 Doctor Strange fight. I originally thought that the Dark and Doctor Strange would win. After all, it has absorbed so many mysterious creatures. But when they saw Doctor Strange's Vision Emperor defensive magic, they saw hope again. Is this defensive magic so powerful? The Black and Doctor Strange can't absorb him yet. The Wishing Emperor's defensive magic is too powerful. I thought Doctor Strange was destined to lose. Now it seems there is still hope. My heart is like a roller coaster. Why don't you play with me like this? The magic shield was broken just now. I thought it was over. I think Doctor Strange will definitely win. This defensive magic is too powerful. This is already the 2nd time that Doctor Strange has been blackened and prepared to absorb Doctor Strange. But still intact. This also makes everyone feel some confidence in Doctor Strange. The background music is getting more and more intense, making countless people feel excited like a hero constantly killing enemies. I saw Doctor Strange rushing forward to fight the Black and Doctor Strange and tied it with magic chains, make it difficult to move. See this scene. People's pupils expanded rapidly. Unexpectedly, Doctor Strange actually had the upper hand. However, they didn't wait for a second to be happy. Zilla, the Scarlet Lightning, arc bombarded Doctor Strange's hand along the magic chain. With a loud collision, he flew out and hit the wall in the distance violently. Hear this crash. Countless people's hearts trembled. It's like falling from a mountain to a trough. Feeling extremely anxious and heavy. And in their shocked eyes, the Black and Doctor Strange in the distance summoned 3 local snakes, heading towards Doctor Strange with an irresistible force. Gudon. People swallowed hard. Staring at Doctor Strange. Hope and pray he gets back on his feet. At this time, it's like Doctor Strange answered their prayers, reacted immediately. He flew into the sky, and after destroying these monsters at the same time, he threw the magic chain again and tied up the Black and Doctor Strange. Seeing this scene, people's nervous hearts were relieved immediately. I knew he would succeed. Doctor Strange did it. He caught the Dark Doctor Strange. Great. Now we can finally stop him. In video. Magical chains bind the Black and Doctor Strange all over his body. Countless people thought that this battle was over. But does the Dark and Doctor Strange really lose like this? The answer is of course not. He is now obsessed. All I want in my heart is to rescue Christine. To do this, he must absorb Doctor Strange. He must do it. Whoosh. The sound of breaking through the air at extremely fast speed sounded. I saw the Black and Doctor Strange controlling his blackened cloak, to move towards Doctor Strange, entangled him in an instant, and used it to break free. See this scene. People's faces were full of shock and disbelief. It was completely unexpected that the darkened Doctor Strange would use his cloak to help him get out of trouble. Damn it. At this moment, the hearts of countless people who had just let go were hanging again. It's like a roller coaster with ups and downs. Now no one dares to say who will definitely win. Countless people stared at the video, and the nerves in their whole bodies seemed to be tense on a string. They wanted to know crazily who would win in this battle. Video continues when Doctor Strange is entangled in the blackened cloak. He also untied his cloak and landed firmly on the ground. The scene then changed to Doctor Strange vs the darkened Doctor Strange. The cloak vs the darkened cloak. The atmosphere was at its peak at this moment. Doctor Strange no longer defended himself and planned to take the initiative, throwing several magic balls at the blackened Doctor Strange. But what he didn't expect was that, after the blackened Doctor Strange caught it with his bare hands, it instantly turned into a magic chain. Like a python, it burrowed into the ground and came out again. It flew in front of Doctor Strange among the lightning and flints, wrapped around his whole body, and knelt on the ground. Superior. See the situation. Doctor Strange released the endless energy in his body in one breath, and then erupted a powerful crimson magic beam from his right hand, which continued to bombard Doctor Strange's body. Boom boom boom. Astonishing explosions resounded one after another, and countless crimson energy ripples washed away. When the energy beam continued to bombard Doctor Strange's body, the Wishon Emperor's curse marks on his face disappeared one after another. Seeing this scene, people's hearts seemed as heavy as sinking to the bottom of the sea, and they even felt suffocated. This battle can be described as amazing. But I didn't expect that Doctor Strange would be defeated in the end. But just when people fell into despair, Doctor Strange's magic cloak got rid of the blackened cloak and instantly bound the hands of the blackened Doctor Strange, preventing him from continuing to release magic beams. At the moment when the blackened Doctor Strange tore his magic cloak apart. Doctor Strange in the distance didn't give up either. What a joke. He is now the guardian of the world. So what if it's the evil twin who is more powerful than me? Kill him anyway. So he concentrated the surging magic power in his body on his hands and then released it in one breath. Then a magic beam containing heaven-destroying energy shot out and headed towards the blackened Doctor Strange. Boom. It seems to be exactly the same as the scene in Ancient One. The fire produced by the explosion lit up the entire night sky. And in the eyes of countless people who were shocked and excited. Where Doctor Strange was blackened just now, there is only a pit left. The background music became louder. It made people's blood boil, and they jumped up from their seats, then raised their arms and shouted. They never expected that Doctor Strange would win. Winning. He really won. He actually did it. Oh my god. Am I dreaming? Doctor Strange actually stopped the darkened other half. Great. Now the world can finally recover. People's hearts seemed to have set off huge waves and could not calm down for a long time. With the huge joy, they even felt as if their hearts were about to jump out. There were expressions of shock and disbelief on their faces I haven't reacted until now. Chapter 240. Doctor Strange actually won. But just when they thought it was over, the background music didn't stop. Instead, the high-pitched music became smaller and smaller, and then the thrilling music became more intense. It's like a huge reversal. It made countless people nervous again. I even want to curse. No way. Is there a reversal? Are you, the dog author, fucking kidding me? I feel bad. Why is this music playing again? Isn't the Dark Doctor Strange dead? Countless people complained crazily. Just from this video, their hearts have endured pain they should not have endured. Sometimes excited and sometimes nervous. Who can bear this? But their great curiosity prompted them to bite the bullet and read on, wondering whether there could be a reversal of this matter. At this time, the camera pans to Doctor Strange. And in the horrified eyes of countless people. The shadow behind Doctor Strange is obviously a dark version of Doctor Strange. I saw the blackened Doctor Strange pulling Doctor Strange directly in, as if falling into an abyss. Then a silky smooth transition appeared. The two fell from a high altitude. The blackened Doctor Strange concentrated all his power on his right fist and bombarded Doctor Strange. Bang. Bang bang. The dull sound of impact continued to resound, and the Black and Doctor Strange's right fist was continuously bombarded on Doctor Strange's face. Every time a punch was struck, a strong shockwave would erupt, covering the entire space. The shock rippled through layers of waves, as if hitting everyone's heart. Trembling together, golden light flashed, and under the sudden attack of the Black and Doctor Strange, the Wetian Emperor's curse mark on Doctor Strange's face dissipated bit by bit. Even if the defense is extremely strong point, but there is nothing that can be done about the continuous attacks of the Black and Doctor Strange. Boom. A shocking crashing sound resounded. They both landed together. The curse mark on Doctor Strange's face completely disappeared. Only the last main source curse seal is left. But it's nothing in front of the Black and Doctor Strange. You can't do this, Doctor Strange said this in despair. When the people watching the video heard it, their hearts felt extremely heavy, and they also felt great despair. In this battle, the winner is a darkened Doctor Strange. Boom. In the desperate eyes of countless people. Doctor Strange didn't hesitate at all. Directly activate the magic power in the body. And released 3 beams of light that bombarded Doctor Strange's body and began to absorb Doctor Strange just like absorbing other mysterious creatures. See this scene. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Fear filled every corner of my body. The fun is really over now. 143. The world is destroyed. Doctor Strange asks observers for help. What? The Black One actually won. Damn it. At this moment. Kamatage. Strange's disappointed voice echoed throughout the space. I saw my other half fighting back and forth with my darkened other half before. It even seemed possible to win. But who would have thought it would end like this? He actually lost. This was something he never expected. To know all the rankings in the video. No matter how powerful the villain is, heroes always win. This has become ingrained in people's thinking. But this time. The villain side actually won. How could he not be shocked? How could we not disappoint him? Now after the black side wins, the whole world will be destroyed. He wished he could go to that world to save it. It's a pity that he can't do it. Mage, if he breaks through the absolute point in time, will the universe really be destroyed? Yes, that is a road leading to the end of darkness and reality. The paradox created will cause the entire universe to collapse. No matter how powerful your magic is after darkening, you cannot save it. Unless, Strange's eyes lit up. When I heard the first half of the sentence, I thought there was really no hope. But I didn't expect Master Guyi to actually say an unless. That means there really is a way. Unless. What? Is there any way to make up for it? Unless that person takes action, there will be no chance of survival in that universe. When Master Guyi said. He raised his head and looked at the sky. Even he could only perceive a more powerful existence. But I can't really feel his presence like the Black and Doctor Strange in the video. And Strange heard this. The face also showed shock and astonishment. Obviously he understood who Master Ancient One was referring to. Onto the observers who have been watching. But will he take action? Strange thought back to the past. The observer is, as the name suggests, always observing. How could he take action? So he sighed, shifted his gaze to the dimensional platform, and quietly watched what happened next. 9 realms Asgard. Ever since I learned that blackening Doctor Strange and trying to break through the absolute point in time would lead to the destruction of the entire universe. The entire whole fell into silence. Until now, the Dark Doctor Strange defeated Doctor Strange. They even fell into sluggishness. Once upon a time, they are still excited and looking forward to this video providing a useful way to break through the absolute point in time to save Asgard from Ragnarok. But now they are all desperate, complete despair, because in this video, the black version of Doctor Strange breaking through the absolute point in time will lead to the destruction of the entire universe. This is not the method they want at all. Odin, are we really hopeless in Asgard? First it was the Book of Darkness, and now it's this time manipulation technique. The consequences are almost the same. Why? Why will the consequences of this time manipulation technique destroy the world again? Is there really no way out? It seems that Asgard will really perish, and it is destined to perish. There is no other way. Give up. An instant point the whole hall was filled with wailing sounds one after another. Odin's one eye, sitting on the throne, also showed some fatigue and loss. It seems that, if you want to break through the absolute point in time, the price you pay is the same huge. He cannot let the entire universe accompany him to his funeral for his own selfish desires, so he said in a deep voice, since this method doesn't work, then don't think too much about it. Asgard has never been a place. As long as there are Asgardians there, that's Asgard. Odin's words were powerful and intimidating. But it sounds so warm at this moment. Let the despairing gods cease their wails. That's right. As long as there are people from Asgard. Chapter 241. Then there is Asgard. The gods clasped each other's hands like a prayer before the end of the world. See the situation. Thor and Loki looked at each other, and they could see the reluctance in each other's eyes. Why don't they want to work hard to save Asgard? But now the video of Doctor Strange being hacked tells them it is basically impossible to break through the absolute point in time. They will not be like the Black Doctor Strange, who will let the entire universe die for his arrogance. Loki, no matter what happens in the future, I will not let you die in front of me. If you die, I will die first. No, my stupid brother, the god of trickery will not let anyone die. I bear the glory of Asgard. Loki snorted. The skin smiles, but the flesh does not smile. My heart is also extremely heavy. Then he shifted his attention to the dimensional platform. There was an intriguing look in his eyes. I want to know how the darkening of Doctor Strange ends. If he can really save his girlfriend, then he might try it too. Odin and Thor don't do that. But that doesn't mean I won't. If Asgard can be kept alive forever, so what if the world is destroyed? His anticipation reached its peak at this moment, and he wanted to know the final answer crazily. Video continues in the desperate roar of Doctor Strange. The Black and Doctor Strange swallowed Doctor Strange completely. The two become one. In an instant, he could feel the power in his body growing crazily. It brings an unprecedented power. At this time, a semi-transparent screen appears. Christine kissed him in front of the windowsill. Sweet and warm. This scene after scene continued to stimulate his brain. Devouring his last shred of sanity. But Drive Strange didn't hesitate at all. The endless magical power surges out of the body. The whole space seemed to be trembling because his magical power was too powerful. Then he activated the Eye of Agamotto on his chest. After blooming with dazzling green light, he continued to input his own magical power into it. The Black and Doctor Strange roared. With strong faith. Continuously activate the spell to force a breakthrough to the absolute point in time, accompanied by exciting music. Countless people's hearts jumped into their throats. Have they ever seen such a shocking scene? See this scene. They even felt like they were dreaming. Boom boom. A shocking explosion sounded. When the Eye of Agamotto inputs huge power, countless crimson magical power spurts out, and the time gem in the middle, which should have been green, is infected and turns crimson, as if there is a flame burning. Boom. The earth-shattering explosion resounded throughout the entire space again, and the body of the Black and Doctor Strange suddenly exploded. Countless firelights surged like a tsunami, overwhelmingly sweeping away in all directions, and a beam of extremely powerful beam of light shot up into the sky, illuminating the entire night sky. The shockwaves that exploded were layer upon layer, setting off circles of air ripples, rolling up countless gravel and dust, and rolling away into the distance. The momentum created can only be described as astonishing, accompanied by extremely intense music. Zero ask for flowers. Countless people's whole bodies were trembling, and a chill shot up from my back to the sky. I felt short of breath and my scalp was numb. Then in their extremely shocked eyes the Eye of Agamotto turned into an extremely frightening scarlet color. Just looking at it makes me feel horrified. The Eye of Agamotto turned red. His power is so powerful that he can change the time stone. I didn't expect that. After absorbing the other half, his power would be beyond my imagination. This power is so terrifying. Countless people were shocked when they saw this scene. They never expected it. The power of blackening Doctor Strange can already change the existence of the time stone. However, what they didn't expect was that this is not what shocked them the most. When the blackened figure of Doctor Strange came into everyone's eyes, their faces were full of horror and disbelief. They all gasped, "What the hell? This is Doctor Strange. Monster. Monster. This is definitely a monster. Damn it." How did he become like this? I'm so convinced that I have to do this for a woman. Is it really worth it? I saw the camera zoom out. 0 when the time stone turns red. The body of the Black and Doctor Strange also caught people's eyes. I saw pairs of pupils of different colors on his face, like the faces of countless monsters put together. There was a pair of huge wings on his back, and even many wriggling tentacles, which looked incomparable. Terrible. Even weird can't be used to describe his true appearance. It's just like combining various parts of various monsters. At this time the background music became extremely sad. The camera zooms high into the sky. Everything around him was eroding at an extremely fast speed. However, in the eyes of the Black and Doctor Strange, there is only Christine, who is dead in the car in the distance. He set up the time circle, then raised his hand slightly, and Christine, who was inside the car in the distance, flew into his hands and returned to life. He succeeded. Christine's life was successfully restored. Then when Christine opened her eyes seeing the monster in front of him, he broke free wildly and crawled backwards. No, don't. Stay away from me. Christine was so frightened that she turned pale with fear, and countless people noticed that her body was gradually eroding. I couldn't help but feel extremely heavy inside. Doctor Strange did not hesitate to reincarnate for hundreds of years, and he did not hesitate to absorb for hundreds of years to turn himself into a monster. In the end, he actually failed. Christine. No. Why is it like this? The Black and Doctor Strange panics. It seems that he has regained some sanity. He never expected that everything would not happen as he imagined, so he spurted out the endless magical power in his body, trying to prevent the erosion of everything around him. Look from afar with the Black and Doctor Strange and Christine as the center. Everything around them turned into darkness, and it continued to erode towards the center, but let the Black and Doctor Strange release his energy crazily. Nothing can be stopped. But at this moment he raised his head, and his originally despairing face seemed to be ignited with hope and roared, You can stop this. Please. Help. When the Black and Doctor Strange said these words, countless people watching the video were shocked. Pupils dilate dramatically. They know who the Black and Doctor Strange is talking to. It is the Observer. So they all held their breath, and their anticipation reached its peak at this moment. Will the observers help him? Factory 144. Observer's first conversation. Christine is dead. Chapter 242. What? It actually failed. I thought it was successful. I didn't expect that Christine was also eroding. Damn it. The whole world is collapsing. It's about to be destroyed. It's too late for him to blackmail Doctor Strange. Even if he has regained some sanity now, it is already too late. The whole world is about to be destroyed because of his arrogance. At this moment, just after people thought Doctor Strange successfully resurrected Christine, but he never thought that Christine's body was still being eroded like everyone else's, and wisps of black smoke were emitting. My heart couldn't help but feel extremely heavy. Doctor Strange took this path to the dark side, but unexpectedly failed in the end. It actually failed. It seems there is really no way to save Asgard. At this time Loki in the real world also sighed one after another. He originally thought that if the Black and Doctor Strange could survive with Christine forever, so what if the world was destroyed? But now it seems things were worse than he imagined. The world and the picture is destroyed, as if countless darkness has swallowed it up. Except for the terrifying existence like the Black and Doctor Strange. Everything else has been completely eroded. All the illusions in his heart were shattered in one fell swoop. It seems that this method does not work either. But at this moment the background music suddenly increased. Like sparks igniting in the darkness with the momentum of starting a prairie fire. The hearts of countless people have resumed beating when they heard the words of the Black and Doctor Strange. His whole body was trembling crazily, pupils dilated rapidly, and 630 breathed rapidly. They all exclaimed, Observer. He is actually an observer. Oh my god. Before, the Black and Doctor Strange was only able to sense the presence of the Observer, but now he can directly talk to him. His power has grown faster than I thought. He can even talk to observers. I didn't expect that the Black and Doctor Strange would ask the observers for help, but will the observers help him? Perhaps. I didn't take action before because I didn't reach the critical moment. Now that the whole world is about to be destroyed, maybe the observers will really take action. Countless people are curious and full of anticipation at this moment. In the previous video point they only hear the observer's voice as a narrator. Have you ever seen him talking directly to people in the world? But now the darkened Doctor Strange is asking him directly for help. Point, will he respond to the darkening of Doctor Strange? Countless people were filled with anticipation at this moment, their eyes fixed on the screen, frantically wondering how the observers would react. Video continues. When the Black and Doctor Strange looked in a certain direction, point, the hands were released and bombarded the space wall with extremely terrifying magical power, forming pieces of crystal-like things in an attempt to prevent the destruction of the world. Point, but he knew it. Point, this is completely useless. What's more, the crystal in front of him is constantly eroding and is about to disappear into ashes. How can he calm down and find other ways? He could only place his hope on that figure in the sky. At this time point, after he said these words, in the eyes of countless people in shock and expectation, point, I saw the camera following the eyes of the Black and Doctor Strange. Point, the observer's figure appeared in front of the Black and Doctor Strange, as if it had broken through several dimensions, and responded calmly, like how you helped Christine. Boom, boom, boom. Hear the words of the observer. Countless people's faces were full of shock and disbelief. They didn't expect it at all. Point, the observer actually spoke to the Black and Doctor Strange. What a shocking scene. He spoke. He actually spoke. Oh my god. I thought he wouldn't talk to the Black and Doctor Strange. I didn't expect him to actually talk to him. Doesn't that mean, doesn't it mean that the observers are very likely to help blackmail Doctor Strange? Countless people's pupils dilated rapidly, their breathing became rapid, and they felt their blood boiling all over. Sankey, such an idea popped into their minds. You must know that the first few times, the observers only observed and did not talk to anyone. Point, and now you can talk to the Black and Doctor Strange. Point, it's hard not to think that he will help Dark and Doctor Strange. How can this not be shocking? How could it not be exciting? That was my mistake. At this time point, I saw the Black and Doctor Strange lowering his head, his face full of guilt, and he opened his mouth to admit his mistake. Point, it shocked people even more. The Dark and Doctor Strange actually admits his mistakes. Countless people are looking forward to it. Point, there is more hope in my heart. Point, now the Black Doctor Strange is willing to admit his mistakes and bow to the observers. The latter will definitely help Dark and Doctor Strange. The background music becomes more and more intense and pleasant. Point, it feels like drinking soda in the summer, refreshing and extremely exciting at the same time. Point, when the Black and Doctor Strange said these words, the observer reminded again, you were warned. I know, but this world shouldn't pay the price for my arrogance. I know about you and sense your existence. You are God and you can definitely stop this. The camera zooms out. Point, a Black and Doctor Strange stands on a rock. Point, the observer in front of him was so huge, like a high altitude god. Point, the Black and Doctor Strange is like a tiny ant, insignificant. Point, this scene had a huge impact on people's vision. Let people's hearts be shocked. Yes, observers will be able to stop this. He looks down on all living beings like the supreme god. But what everyone didn't expect was the background music suddenly becomes sad and solid. Point, it was as if everyone fell from the top to the bottom, falling to pieces. The camera zooms in on the observer. His eyes reveal a ruthless, principled gaze, silently looking at the Black and Doctor Strange. He replied completely unmoved, I'm not a god and neither are you. Then come and punish me. Let the world go. Let Christine go. Drive. Strange has been thinking about Christine until now. Point, he has been implementing this sentence from beginning to end. That is, he is ready to sacrifice himself for Christine at any time. To be honest, if I could solve all this and punish you instead, I would, but I can't interfere. You should understand better than anyone else that disrupting the process of time will only bring more destruction. When the observer finishes saying this sentence, point, the expressions of countless people watching the video were frozen. Point, my heart felt like I was sinking into the sea of 10,000 meters. I was depressed and felt extremely suffocated at the same time. As the saying goes, the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. I was still excited just now, speculating that the observers would help blackmail Doctor Strange. As a result, the current answer slapped countless people in the face. Hot and full of despair at the same time. It's over. It's over. The Black and Doctor Strange is definitely over now. I still think about Christine. Isn't he stupid to blackmail Doctor Strange? Why would he do such a thing? Maybe this is love. Even if you sacrifice yourself, even if you torture yourself, you still have to save the one you love. Captain America is willing to go back to the past, and Loki falls in love with another self. It's so pitiful. I didn't expect it to end like this. The observer should be his only hope. Loki, whether it is a human being or an animal, only with love can hope be born. Sympathy was written on the faces of countless people. They sympathize with the darkened Doctor Strange. I sympathize with this man who has sacrificed so much for love. Chapter 243. At this time point, when the observer rejected his request, the figure became increasingly blurry, as if it had disappeared into this dimension again. See this scene. The face of the Black and Doctor Strange is full of despair and pleading. Roared, no, 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 regret. Unwilling to do so. Guilt. All kinds of complex emotions filled his heart. Thinking back to what happened before. The king had discouraged him, Guyi had discouraged him, Aban had discouraged him, and even the other half himself had discouraged him. But what about him? Still insisting on having his own way, in the name of love. Let's paranoid his arrogance. Now I finally wake up. It became clearer and clearer what stupid thing I had done. I don't want things to turn out like this. The Black and Doctor Strange whispered. But it seemed like everything was too late. The surrounding space barriers are still being compressed, and from a distance, only a small colored part is left. Surrounded by darkness, the Black and Doctor Strange said nothing more. Instead, he turned his gaze to Christine, who was eroding away. His eyes were as warm as water, and his eyes lasted for eternity. It's like saying, I'm sorry, Christine. I still couldn't save you. The background music becomes bleak. The entire screen turned directly to black. Countless people watching the video also choked up. It's hard to express my inner feelings. Drive. Strange didn't want things to turn out like this. They don't want this even more. Just as the Black and Doctor Strange said in the video. Don't they both deserve the right to love each other? At this time, what looked like an amethyst ball appeared in the middle of the originally dark scene. When the camera zooms in on the inside of the ball, only then did people realize. It turns out that blackening Doctor Strange opened up another dimension. Only still can't stop Christine from eroding this ending. Christine, no. I'm sorry, Steven. What have you done? Christine said this sentence with all her strength. Then it turned into countless black smoke and disappeared into the hands of the Black and Doctor Strange. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Really, really sorry. Despair. Pain. The Black and Doctor Strange kneels on the ground with his head in his hands. The camera zooms out. Pulled from the amethyst ball. Then it disappeared bit by bit, and the picture turned dark again. But the ending song never played in the background. Instead, the music for the hero's appearance sounded again. It suddenly brightened the eyes of the people who had been feeling sad and desperate just now. After gathering their emotions, they all turned their attention to the dimensional platform. Want to know what happened? In video. The originally black picture had color again. I saw a cozy bar. The darkened Doctor Strange sits at the bar, and in front of him stood a figure with a full head of hair and a shield on his back. See this scene. Countless people took a breath of cold air. His face was full of shock and disbelief. They didn't expect it at all. Peggy is not dead. She's not dead. And he also met the Black and Doctor Strange. What happened in 1.3? Countless people were impatient and their curiosity spread crazily. They wanted to know what happened next. But at this moment, the ending song plays. The picture is frozen in this scene. Internal Gwen sacrifice. 2 thoughts. 3. Only one shot though. But it makes countless people's hearts feel as if they have set off huge waves and cannot calm down for a long time. It was like countless ants crawling all over it, and it was extremely itchy. Damn it. Dog author. UF asterisk CKED it up here again, didn't you? Fuck. No more. You're going to make me so damn angry. Peggy is not dead. And why is she with the darkened Doctor Strange? Please update it quickly. The knife in my hand suddenly became disobedient. I advise you not to force me. Countless people yelled and cursed. I once again experienced the impatience. I was even so impulsive that I wanted to kill the author. Once upon a time. They thought that these independent worlds were not related. But now it looks like something big will happen next. They are looking forward to it. Ding. We are randomly selecting candidates to receive rewards. But just when everyone was speculating about what would happen next. The voice of the dimensional platform sounded. It immediately attracted their attention. Although they are now looking forward to what will happen next. But they also look forward to who will get the reward. This time, who will be the lucky one? 145. Strange again? Question mark? The European Emperor was born. He actually refused. The observer really doesn't know how to take action. I just said, Loki, no one can break through the absolute point in time. The most important thing now is that we are still together, right? At this moment. 9 realms Asgard. Loki looked at the dimensional platform with a dull expression. The last glimmer of hope in my heart was finally shattered. He will always be like this. Even if you are tortured by failure again and again. He will try his best to do what he wants to do. Like saving Asgard. Even if the darkening of Doctor Strange destroys the entire world. He still retains a glimmer of hope, hoping that the observers will agree to the request to blackmail Doctor Strange. But I didn't expect it. In the end it was rejected. This also forced him to give up this hope. I have to admit, what you said is quite right. Loki lowered his eyes, wanting to hide his sadness. He didn't want to show his vulnerable side in front of Thor. And I think my stupid brother is right. At least they're together now. Unlike the darkened Doctor Strange, who reincarnated for centuries and experienced countless life and death, I saw Thor approaching. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 244. He put his hand on his shoulder and continued, Loki, although we cannot save Asgard, we can find your beloved and bring her to our Asgard. This is my promise to you, lover. Loki looked surprised and felt like a deer was jostling inside. That figure naturally appeared in my mind. Like a true female warrior, she fights alone, but never gives up. He almost destroyed the entire time management bureau by himself. At the same time, she is also the only woman with whom he has a spiritual resonance. That's right. If you can. He really hopes to find her. 09. Although, what you said is very touching. How can you find her? She is hiding in the apocalypse. Not to mention you don't have the tools to travel through time. So, what if you don't have it? We can borrow that major stuff to play with. Thor watched video after video. More or less people died inside. The fragile corner of my heart was deeply touched. Especially when you see the darkened Doctor Strange sacrificing so much to save his girlfriend. He couldn't even control his emotions. He kept thinking of the scene when Loki died in front of him. So now he wants to do his best to cherish everyone in front of him. Compared to trying to stop the completely unstoppable Ragnarok. He is more willing to help them achieve their respective dreams. As for how to do it. He already had the answer in his mind. Although I don't know if it is possible. But if you don't do it, you will definitely not succeed. Ah, you crazy? That mage is not easy to mess with. What's more, he is a guardian of the Eye of Agamotto. How could he allow you to use that? That's not necessarily true. I have a hunch that he will definitely get the reward this time. Maybe there will be something we need. Thor said very confidently. And Loki heard this. The word stopped abruptly. In the previous video. When he appears to rule the entire earth. He also fantasizes about being rewarded. Then become the only one who has won the award twice. This seems to be an honor in his heart. Now see the Doctor Strange video. Then there is a high probability that it is him. Although very unhappy. But he had to say that many of the things that the mage obtained were related to magic. Maybe there is a way to help him. The thought of this Loki also began to look forward to it. That's right. The rewards from the Dimension platform are always beyond anyone's expectations. I hope he can really get the rewards we need. Loki raised his head and looked at the dimensional platform point just when he thought the video was over, but suddenly I saw it point. The Black and Doctor Strange and Peggy appear in the picture at the same time. Huh? What's going on? Loki frowned point, thinking back to the previous video. Didn't Peggy disappear? Why are you with the Dark and Doctor Strange? What happened? Peggy, you're not dead. I knew it. Earth point inside a restaurant point. Steve was sitting with Peggy at this time point since I got the reward point novel exchange group. 70,326,220. The two began this precious date point, and they sat together in the restaurant to watch the dimensional platform point. When Steve saw Peggy's figure reappearing point, his face was also particularly excited point. He knew that the woman he loved would not die like this. Just like he fell into the bottom of the sea, he would still be rescued. I see you are happier than me, but am I really that strong? Peggy teased Steve point. Then he frowned point, looking at myself in the video. I couldn't help but feel a little disgusted. You need to know this when watching this video point. She is still an old man who is about to die and is a little confused point. But when she received the reward and regained her youth and took a closer look at her figure, the corner of her mouth twitched slightly point. Even if she's an agent point, but which woman wants her beloved man to see this extremely contrasting side? No matter what happens to my beloved girl, I will still love her. Steve was sincere and full of love point. Enjoy this rare moment of peace point. And Peggy heard this. I was also very grateful to this dimension platform and the author, and then replied, I know you've said it 1,000 times, but I still want to know who won the award. I think this is more attractive to me. Peggy was chosen to receive the award point, particularly interested in rewards, then stare at the dimensional platform, waiting for the rewards to arrive. I knew the observer wouldn't take action. Christina's still dead. It's all because of that arrogant guy. The other side point. Camotage point. Strange shook his head in disappointment point. Although he had been expecting observers to help point, but I have already had a hunch in my heart that observers are always like bystanders and will never take action point. Really point. Darkening Doctor Strange was rejected point. Even if he finally found his way back point. Extremely guilty and repentant point. But the whole world was destroyed because of his arrogance point. Even Christian died in front of him in the end. See this scene point. Strange's heart was extremely heavy point. I'm more aware of the serious consequences of my arrogance, so I decided not to read the Book of Darkness unless necessary. That was something that led him astray. Although your perseverance in the other world is commendable. In other words, you are paranoid. So do you understand what you should do now? Stephen, Master Ancient One spoke calmly and walked to Strange's side point. Those clear and translucent eyes looked at Strange as if they could see through a person's soul point. When Strange was reading the Book of Darkness, he originally thought about stopping him point, but he didn't do that point because he knows that once Strange decides on something, he will not change it easily unless he suffers a huge blow. The same is true for learning magic point. Until this video appeared point, Master Guyuli felt it was time. I understand. It seems that I used to be a little too idealistic. I thought that dark magic is not considered dark if it is used in the right way. But now I find that it will affect people's sanity and judgment invisibly and will make me go beyond, falling deeper and deeper. I was wrong. Always wrong. Strange side point. Admit that you are too idealistic point. Once upon a time point he believes that magic should not be divided into pros and cons. I think it depends on the person using magic point, but the characteristics of magic were ignored point. Now, after seeing the Black and Doctor Strange, I realize that the erosion of dark magic is subtle and irreversible. Once you get in it, it's hard to go back. But at this moment, chapter 245. When Strange thought that the Black and Doctor Strange would always be trapped in the amethyst bowl point, the scene changes inside a cozy bar. The figures of the Black and Doctor Strange and Peggy appeared in front of him. What? Why are the two of them together? Strange exclaimed point. This scene exploded in his mind like a bomb, making his brain buzz unexpectedly. The Black and Doctor Strange not only came out, but also stood with Peggy, who was supposed to disappear. What happened? It seems that something unexpected happened. Compared To the shocked Strange point, Guyi's performance was slightly calm point, but his heart did not say that the surprise was fake point, because he seems to have guessed a fact. That's when the observer takes action. As for why you are so guessing, that's because these worlds seem to have nothing to do with each other, but they have one thing in common. That is, these worlds are under the eyes of observers, and huge events are happening one after another. Mage. Did you guess something? Strange is thirsty for knowledge point. There was shock and expectation in his eyes. Want to know what exactly happened point. He has always been in awe of Guyi, who is like a god in front of him point at any time. He seems to have understood everything point, so he thought Ancient One must have understood something. How do you think the Avengers came together? Yi did not answer directly point. Instead, it leads Strange to think point. Here the word Strange frowned at first, and then his eyes lit up, as if he thought of something. That's right. Peggy and the Dark and Doctor Strange are both major characters in their respective worlds. Once they gather together, they will definitely be fighting something together like the members of the Avengers! 630. So, when I think of this, he then understood that not only did this world have a huge enemy, but in the multidimensional universe, these people also had a common enemy. So who could it be? Observer? No, must not be an observer. Star-Lord's father Ego. It doesn't seem to count. Leaving his own planet, he is not powerful enough to involve the multiverse. Who could it be? Strange felt short of breath. His whole body was unbearably hot, and his heart was pounding non-stop. Although he guessed many goals but none of them fit the bill, he is even more looking forward to the follow-up videos. Perhaps in subsequent videos, this enemy will be slowly revealed. But at this moment point, when the ending song plays, the sound of the dimensional platform also sounded point. It instantly disrupted Strange's train of thought point. Then he looked at the dimensional platform expectantly, wanting to know who the lucky winner would be this time. This time it won't be me, but your mage. I think it's very possible. Strange had longed for power before point, but after watching this video, I started to fear the power. Of course, what he fears is that he will lose himself after becoming powerful point. After all, who doesn't want to become stronger? And heard Strange's words. Guyi just smiled faintly point. No words were spoken point. He doesn't care at all about the reward point. If it weren't for the emergence of the dimensional platform point, maybe he was already ready to end his life point. At the same time point, people throughout the universe are also looking forward to it point. Guess who will be the lucky one? Do you think it could be Doctor Strange? I think it's very possible. If it was Doctor Strange, then he would have received 2 rewards. It shouldn't be possible. That's right. 2 rewards are too much. I think Master Ancient One is very likely. After all, he is also very powerful. Do you think you will give a reward to Christine like Peggy? That would be fun. This is possible. Just when people are speculating point, the ding of the dimensional platform instantly caused them to stop discussing, and their nerves began to get tense. Ding. Congratulations to Stephen Strange on his award. Holy shit, it's Strange. The strongest European emperor was born. Thanks to the reader's dad Tanley fighting God for the 1000 reward. 146. Choose 2 out of 3 rewards. 5th. What if the zombie universe? Holy crap. Isn't it? It's Strange again this time. Fuck. It's too European. I thought it was Guyi, but it's him again. Damn it. One person gets 2 rewards. He is the only one in the entire universe. This is Kaiguago's preference. The dimensional platform is unfair. I would like to call him the strongest European emperor. There is no one like him. Strange. And the dimension platform are still related to the author? He must be so lucky. At this moment point, the whole universe is boiling point. They were just guessing it was Ancient One or someone else point. Thought it couldn't be Strange point. But when the sound of the dimensional platform sounded point, their faces showed shock and stunned expression. They all froze in place. It's as if you can't accept this fact. After all, no one has ever been awarded twice. This is simply a preference. Preference from the dimensional platform. Countless people looked at the dimensional platform with envy in their eyes. I want to know what the subdimensional platform will reward Strange this time. Me again. The other side point. Kamatage point. Just a second ago, Strange was saying that this time the reward would definitely be given to Ancient One point, but who would have thought that he would be rewarded again? He even began to wonder if he had any ulterior secrets with the dimensional platform, and seeing Strange's expression of shock, Gooey only raised the corner of his mouth slightly. Then he said softly, "Don't think too much, let's see what rewards you can get this time, but I think you should know what rewards you are suitable for." I see. Strange certainly now understands what reward he is suitable for. If there is still dark magic like the Dark God book, he won't choose anything. So he shifted his attention to the dimensional platform. Then his appearance appeared on the screen again. But at this moment, when people in the universe see Strange again, all of them felt their hearts pounding. Chapter 246. He exclaimed as if he had thought of something. Wait a minute. Why are Strange's eye circles dark? He looks too much like the darkened Doctor Strange. Holy crap. It's true. Could it be that he went crazy while studying the Dark Book? He's a loser. If he is like the blackened Doctor Strange, wouldn't our universe be gone too? Ancient 1. As the video says, a small action can change the world. Strange will be fine. At this time, people noticed that Strange's eyes were darkened, which didn't seem like a lack of sleep at all. On the contrary, it is very similar to the blackened Doctor Strange in the video just now. I couldn't help but start to worry. What if the Strange in this world is like the darkened Doctor Strange? Fortunately, Master Guyi's barrage immediately dispelled people's doubts. After all, in their minds, Master Guyi protects all living beings like a god. Soon they looked at the dimensional platform with anticipation, wanting to know what reward Strange would get. Ding. Congratulations to Stephen Strange for winning the award. Please choose 2 from the 3 options below. Option 1. Full counterattack. Reflect all offensive magic directed towards you with several times more power. Option 2. Platinum Star. Humanoid avatar. Close range power type, with ultra high precision movements, overwhelming attack power and speed compared to ordinary avatars, and the ability to pause time so that it can move at a standstill action in time. Option 3. Piercing Death Thorn Spear. A cursed spear that will definitely pierce the opponent's heart with one blow. In fact, this is a reversal of cause and effect. The spear is derived only after the result of the spear hitting the opponent's heart is obtained. Release this reason to your opponent. Silence. Speechless. When people see these 3 reward options, everyone was stunned, breathing rapidly, and their eyes were full of shock and envy. It was as if a deep sea bomb exploded in their hearts, setting off a tsunami that reached the sky, boiling, banging, beating rapidly. At first, they thought that the third option of choosing 2 out of 3 was the same as before, choosing from the remaining rewards, but this time it's a brand new prop, and each of these 3 props is of a type they have never seen before. It simply refreshed their outlook on life again. It shattered their worldview. Oh my god. It's okay if he can get 2 rewards. How come this second reward is so good? I'm sour. I'm really sour. What kind of rewards are these? I want every one of them. Strange can no longer be described as the European Emperor. From today on, he is the biological son of the Dimension platform. Let's talk about option 1 first. Full counterattack. As the name suggests, reflect back the magic power received. But when everyone saw the second half of the sentence, everyone gasped. It can actually bounce back with several times more energy. Doesn't this mean that when you hit me, you hit yourself with more power? Hiss. What kind of ability is this? Damn it. It can actually bounce back. Isn't it true that when I fight Strange, when I hit him, I hit myself? Good guy. Isn't this much better than defense? No. The most disgusting thing is that it can rebound with several times more power. It's like using my stronger power to hit myself. This is cheating. Pure cheating. Damn it. My heart is moved. Isn't this invincible when used to deal with guys who use magic? I can let him beat me while I'm standing. That's right. This ability seems to be much easier to use than offensive magic. Just imagine. When fighting a magician. You stand still, and when he attacks you, his magical power counterattacks his own several times. Isn't this a complete victory? The thought of this, countless people couldn't help but swallow their saliva. Expressed strong interest in this. Everyone wants to get this reward. But when they saw the second reward, my head was buzzing, as if it had been hit by a giant hammer. Humanoid stand-in. What the hell? Countless people's faces were full of shock and disbelief. They had never seen anything called a stand-in. This reward also appears on the Dimension platform for the first time. In their cognition. All we know is Loki and Strange's magical clones. Now I see such a thing as a substitute. How could they not be shocked? How can we not make them excited? However, when they saw the substitute's ability, they were so envious that they almost fainted. This stand is not only super capable of fighting, but can also use time-stopping abilities. Good guy. I don't believe this is not tailor-made for Strange, my biological son. It's true. Strange is his biological son. I don't believe this thing was not customized for him. How can this be done? The avatar not only makes up for Strange's melee compatibility, but can also use time stop. Damn it. I'm so envious. You can actually use time stop, plus Strange's time stone. What a guy. Father and son are going into battle. They are indeed biological sons. The Platinum Star and Strange really complement each other. That's right. Strange's melee abilities have never been very good. Even with a magic shield or magic chain. But once you encounter hard problems it would be difficult to use magic to fight against it. However, Star Platinum's melee combat capabilities are not only superb. It can also have the ability to stop and move when stopped. This completely makes up for this weakness of Strange's, and plus Strange himself has the time stone. It can also be combined with Platinum Star. In the eyes of countless people, this was completely tailor-made for him. But before everyone could say a few sour words, their eyes couldn't help but look at the third reward. It shocked them even more. A cursed spear that will pierce the opponent's heart with one strike. Boom, boom, boom. When people see this description, my heart was trembling crazily. It was as if a spear had penetrated their hearts. However, when they saw the explanation behind it, they were even more shocked. Never thought of it. The reason why this spear is 100% accurate. Is it because it reverses cause and effect? Oh my god. A cursed gun with 100% accuracy? This reward is too outrageous. Wait a minute. The hit happened because of reversing the cause and effect? This is more than just going against the grain. This is simply changing the rules of the world. Good guy. Tony Stark's future notes weren't so powerful before, right? That thing only guided the future, and this cursed gun was actually destined to hit the heart, and that's why it was shot. No wonder it's called the cursed gun. Good guy. The sense of emotion is so strong that my heart is already starting to hurt. That's right. Many people are aware of it. The third reward's reversal of cause and effect is more terrifying than the future notes that Tony Stark received before. It was determined that the heart would be stabbed first, and then it had the reason to throw the spear. It left countless people breathless and their hearts ached. They were very curious, what reward will Strange choose? After all, these three rewards once again refresh the knowledge. Oh my god, what kind of reward is this? Am I really the biological son of the dimensional platform? At this moment, Strange was too shocked to speak. Even after obtaining the Book of Darkness before, he no longer felt that anything could attract him. But now I see these three rewards, each one was beyond his expectation. It would be a lie to say that I'm not shocked and excited. Whoops. Chapter 247. Strange took a deep breath. Then force yourself to calm down. First, these three rewards. The first bonus appears to be defense. In fact, it is a more powerful ability than active attack. For a supreme mage like him, it is a good choice. The second reward was, as everyone said, completely tailor-made for him. But the third reward, although reversing cause and effect is terrifying, it can even be described as heaven-defying. But for him, power is inherently a curse. He didn't want to step on the path of blackening Doctor Strange. So he made his choice without any hesitation. I choose 1 or 2. When Strange's voice sounded, dimensional platform also responded. Ding. Rewards are being distributed. The Words just fell. Two rays of light flashed from the dimensional platform. A stream of warmth transformed into Strange's body. The other one turned into a platinum star and appeared next to Strange. Wow. When people all over the universe see the platinum star, there was an uproar. I saw that the platinum star has a strong body, which makes people feel like a fitness fanatic, as if every muscle in his body is full of terrifying strength. Some magic apprentices couldn't help but be curious. All summon magic shields, then let Star Platinum give it a try. Suddenly, everyone in the entire universe who was watching the video opened their eyes wide, wanting to see how powerful the Platinum Star was. Go ahead. When Strange nodded in approval. Platinum Star clenched his fists, focused his endless power on them, and then frantically bombarded one magic shield after another. Bang, 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 bang. In the shocked eyes of countless people, I saw Platinum Star shouting for Eula crazily. At the same time, the speed of his fists was so fast that only after images were left. They kept bombarding the magic shields one after another. With each punch, the violent power shook. There were ripples of air in circles. Countless magic shields cracked in response. The apprentices flew in all directions, and the ground was bombarded with huge pits one after another. See this scene. Countless people swallowed hard. My scalp feels numb and my back feels cold. They seem to have underestimated the power of Platinum Star, and they could see that Platinum Star still showed mercy. Who knows the true strength? It is estimated that no one is willing to try it. Just when people want to see what the ability of full counterattack is at the end of the video, the scrolling subtitles appear again. Attracted all their attention. The whole new world of the fifth dimensional universe. If this is a zombie universe, male. When people see this title, everyone can't sit still. 147. Superheroes become zombies. Zombie universe. What does this mean? I didn't expect this universe to be a zombie universe. Zombies should be similar to The Walking Dead. I thought the darkening of Doctor Strange was enough to shock me, but I didn't expect that this universe would be even more outrageous. It's so outrageous. What happened? Why is it the zombie universe? This shit is on fire. Hey, I really want to know too. My favorite thing is zombies. This universe is very good. Very good. It suits my taste very much. If this universe is a zombie universe, then will those superheroes also have to fight against zombies? Can they defeat and save the world? Who knows? I'm already on fire. I just like fighting zombies. At this moment, when the subtitles of the video caught everyone's eyes, people throughout the universe who were watching the video couldn't sit still. Their faces were full of horror and surprise. Unexpectedly, this time the world is actually zombie themed. Although darkening the world of Doctor Strange shocked them enough. But this time, it was more like a giant hammer that struck their hearts, causing them to tremble suddenly, because they can't imagine what will happen when this universe becomes a zombie universe. It seems like there are endless possibilities. First of all, what they want to know most is why this universe became a zombie universe. Secondly, what they want to know is whether the superheroes can save this crisis. Compared to the previous single player combat, they prefer to see the Avengers, who once made people's blood boil, gather together. It's lit. It's lit. I can't wait to see the Avengers assemble. Yes, as long as they are here. What does the zombie army mean? That's right. I still want to hear Captain America say those words. Avengers assemble. Countless people feel their blood boiling all over and can't wait to watch the next video now. But when they saw that there were 6 hours left behind the subtitles before they could watch the next video, everyone froze in place. Then I couldn't help but fill up the entire barrage. 630 @%*. Dog author, you are kidding me, right? A few minutes ago, it was a video. Now it takes another 6 hours. Fuck. You, the dog author, are really good at keeping people's appetites. It's a shame that I'm so looking forward to the zombie universe. You damn thing made me wait for 6 hours. Isn't it going to cost me my life? I beg you, update it quickly. I can't bear it for 6 minutes, and you want me to wait for 6 hours. Angry. Very Angry point. The intervals between the previous videos were no more than an hour at most point. Now they really want to know what happened point. He actually had to wait 6 hours. Who can endure it? Although angry is still angry point, but there was nothing they could do point. I can only swallow my anger. After all, they couldn't find the author. Suddenly, my heart felt like it was grabbed by a hand, and I was suffocated by the anticipation. I was like a resentful woman, sitting in front of the dimensional platform, waiting for the new video. The other side point S point H point I point E point L point D. At this moment point when everyone saw that Strange had obtained 2 more good things, there was solemnity written all over his face point. Just the power displayed by a platinum star is enough to shock them. But of course point, it's not the rewards they care about, but the consequences. That's right point. As a member of the Avengers, everyone worries about future disasters, especially after watching the consequences of blackening Doctor Strange point. Even more worried point. When Strange accepts his reward point, they noticed that the circles under Strange's eyes were a little dark point, just like the darkening of Doctor Strange point reeks of dark magic. It's hard not to get on their nerves. What if Doctor Strange turns dark? Not only do they have treasures like the Eye of Agamotto, but also the Book of Darkness, Total Counterattack, and Platinum Star. They are not necessarily his opponents, because they think they are not powerful enough to directly sense the existence of observers like the Black and Doctor Strange. No, we must control him. If he really turns dark and absorbs mysterious creatures like in the video, I'm afraid the entire universe will be destroyed again. At this time point, Tony Stark takes out the future notes. Chapter 248. Be prepared to write something on it point. But Banner stopped him. Tony, don't do this. I don't think things are that bad yet. Maybe Strange has realized the seriousness of blackening and won't go down that road. Banner is completely different from the Hulk after his transformation point. Shy and kind-hearted point. He thinks Strange still has room for redemption point. If you rush to arrest or something like that point, or use future notes to guide the capture point, that will make the situation worse. Banner is right. There is still room for recovery. Tony, why don't you sit down and rest for a while? You, aside point. Natasha dissuaded point. Looking at Tony Stark in front of him point, she knew that the man was starting to worry again point, trying to comfort point. But I didn't expect to just touch his arm point. Tony Stark took a step back like a frightened bird point. See this scene point. Everyone looked at each other point, especially Nick Fury point. He now feels that Tony Stark can no longer watch the video point. It will only make the latter think more and become more anxious. Then he glanced at Wanda point, although he didn't speak point, but Wanda understood what he meant instantly. Looks like you need to have a good sleep. Wanda directly activated the magical power, put Tony Stark to sleep quickly point, completed the move point. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief point. Continue discussing Strange. Although things haven't reached that situation yet, I have to say that Strange is like a time bomb, and there is no telling when it will explode. So I think that without dealing with him, the darkness it would be a good choice to keep the sacred book for safekeeping. But you also know that the rewards from the dimensional platform cannot be snatched, and stealing should not be allowed either. Nick Fury looked solemn point. Speak your mind point. They don't have to deal with Strange point, just keep Strange away from things that might cause his darkening point. But Natasha's words made him think again point. That's right point. The rewards on the dimensional platform cannot be snatched, and stealing is not allowed point. How to get Strange to personally hand over the Book of Darkness to them for safekeeping is the top priority at the moment. Don't think about it. I'm here. But what they didn't expect was sudden. A circle of light appeared beside them point, and a familiar figure walked out of it. It's Strange. Only Amidst saw him walking forward holding a magic book full of dark atmosphere point. Then he continued, perhaps Master Guyi is right. I know how to choose. This thing must be placed at your place, which is much better than what I have here. Now has 2 rewards, full counterattack and platinum star to him. The Dark God book was more like a bomb full of dangers. If deposited with him point, his heart felt like torture. Don't read it. It feels like a waste point. Read it. But I'm afraid you will go astray point, as the saying goes. Out of sight, out of mind. He understood Master Guyi's words. Therefore, if you give the dark book to the superhero, you may need to keep it more carefully. Strange. You, at This time point Nick Fury and others were very surprised point it was completely unexpected that Strange would hand over the Book of Darkness himself point I couldn't help but feel very grateful point in this way. The greatest instability on Earth would be eliminated point just when Nick Fury was looking for someone to wrap up the Book of Darkness. Strange spoke again. Instead of worrying that I will turn black, let's take a look at the next new world. I believe you will be even more surprised. The next new world. Nick Fury and others reacted point they had been discussing how to deal with Strange just now point. But I forgot to continue watching Dimensional Platform point they remembered that the introduction to the next world usually appeared at the end of the video point. However, when they reopened the Dimensional Platform point all of them showed even more surprised expressions. The next one is actually the zombie universe. No kidding. Zombie universe. It's actually a zombie universe. I like zombie games the most. I didn't expect to see this. At this time point Peter Parker's voice echoed throughout the space point. The nerves were extremely excited point. This surprised everyone point. When did this little guy come in question mark? 5/19/12/42/43 Lin Lan Peter Parker. Tony is asleep now. No one can protect you. If you make noise again, I don't mind letting you try what is called chaos magic. Wanda said viciously point like an angry big sister, but Peter Parker was still scared point. He hates having his mind manipulated point like being afraid of Mantis. He quickly shut his mouth point. Then he shifted his attention to the Dimensional Platform point. I want to know what will happen in the zombie universe this time. It's not just him point. The Avengers also want to know. Time passed by minute point. Countless people in the universe are impatient point. The Dimensional Platform is refreshed basically every second point. 6 hours passed quietly point. When the video is finally updated point countless people clicked like crazy. I rushed to click on the video. I want to know what unexpected stories the zombie universe will bring them this time. At this time point music plays in the background point. This is different from the beginning of all previous videos. This time it's no longer soothing piano music point. On the contrary point it's the drum beat and the violin that make people extremely nervous. Countless people who were still looking forward to it became even more excited. And at the same time, their nerves became tense at this moment. I couldn't help but start to get curious. Why is the opening music so different this time? Soon point Lin Lan's deep voice sounded. In the last video, Doctor Strange's small choice created a completely different world. But in this universe, it is the choices of a group of people that create a completely different world. How would the world work if superheroes turned into zombies? The next step is to take stock of the brand new world of the fifth dimensional universe. If this is a zombie universe, superheroes turned into zombies. Chapter 249. Holy shit, what's the meaning? When Lin Lan's words sounded point people all froze in place. They had thought before that if the world turned into a zombie universe, superheroes would save the world point as a result. You tell me now point superheroes turned into zombies. Who the hell would have thought of this? Superheroes turned into zombies? Is this really true? Zombie version of superhero? Oh my god, it's interesting. I like it. Not all superheroes have turned into zombies. But this world is really surprising. Hurry up, hurry up. I really want to see what a zombie superhero looks like. People are eager to know what is happening in the zombie world point. Even superheroes have turned into zombies. Although they know that it is impossible for all superheroes to become zombies. But have they ever seen a zombie version of a superhero? Suddenly I became more interested in this universe. Want to know what these superheroes actually look like. Everyone looked at the dimensional platform expectantly, and the video officially started. Point 148. Iron Man and Doctor Strange became a zombie. The Hulk is in danger. The video begins in the expectant eyes of countless people. Point brush. A colorful beam of light cut through the quiet space, and it seemed that the figure inside the beam could be seen. It was none other than the Hulk. See this scene point. Memories about the previous video suddenly flooded into everyone's mind point. They all remembered it point. On board the Asgard ship point Heimdall used the last of his strength to teleport the Hulk back to Earth using a rainbow beam drive. Bruce Banner, the Hulk before his transformation, returned to Earth from space to warn mankind of the impending danger. But this is no longer the world he knew. At This time point the narration sounded point people were immediately interested point they now know that this universe has become a zombie universe point. But Bruce Banner doesn't know that. They want to see what Bruce Banner's expression will be after he learns that the world has changed. Are you as shocked as them? Boom. Video continues. A shocking explosion sounded point the rainbow beam came to the earth in an instant, pierced the blue sky, rushed straight into Strange's temple, and then landed inside. Thanos is coming. He's coming. At this time point Bruce Banner lies on the ground point he murmured in his mouth point clearly frightened by Thanos. I was even very lucky that I could survive point. But now is not the time to rejoice point. The most important thing now is to warn the other Avengers. Stop Thanos. So he stood up from the ground with difficulty, looked at the empty temple, and asked softly, hello. Is there anyone? Can anyone give me some clothes? See? Here point people couldn't help but frown point. Logically speaking point, if someone invades the temple point, whether he is good or bad point Strange and one will rush over. But why doesn't it show up now? Could it be that we are fighting an army of zombies? The thought of this people are eager to see the scene of fighting zombies caca, along with the mysterious music. Countless people became slightly nervous, but more of them were expecting point. I saw Bruce Banner casually put on the clothes of a magic apprentice and walked out of the temple point, but at this moment point his face was full of surprise and confusion. Oh my god. The camera turned point came to the street point. The dim afterglow fell on the earth point. The whole street was deathly silent point. Internal group. Woo. 1. GUISS and the contrast with the escape scene shown in the previous video made countless people's nerves even more tense because they feel that the more terrifying thing is yet to come. Silent and depressing point like a sign before the storm point. Bruce Banner was completely unaware of the danger of his situation point. Walk freely on the streets looking at the desolate scene. He said with a sad expression on his face, did I come too late? Yes. His current thinking is that the people on Earth have been wiped out by Thanos. It was because he came too late that he failed to stop. All this guilt, sadness, and all kinds of negative emotions were mixed in his heart point. But before he could react point a white beam of light fell from the sky. A huge figure and a slender figure caught his and all the audience's eyes. It's Black Dwarf and Ebony Maw. See this scene point. Bruce Banner was surprised at first point. He thought he was late point. Unexpectedly, these guys are here just now. Then what happened in this place? Where have everyone gone? But now is not the time to dwell on this issue point. So he used all his strength to cheer himself up and said, it's our turn. Big guy, hurry. Come out. No matter how hard he tried point it's just like what you saw in the previous video point. Hulk refuses to transform. The background music becomes increasingly compact and full of crisis. Ebony throat in the distance also said from a high position, listen, you should feel honored. You are about to lose your life at the hands of Thanos. People. Here. The words of Ebony throat point. Bruce Banner's heart was filled with despair. If you can't transform into the Hulk, you're like a useless person. He was even praying in his heart that others would show up quickly to stop them. See this scene point. People watching the video frowned point. Although this is a zombie world point. But what about zombies? And where have the other superheroes gone? Just when everyone was confused point the camera zoomed in front of Ebony Maw point. Villain. Orange magic aperture appeared behind his head. Countless viewers watching the video became excited. It turns out other superheroes were always there. Chapter 250. But what they didn't expect was that a mechanical hand stretched out from it and fired an energy cannon, which instantly blew away Ebony Maw. It's Iron Man. It turns out he's with Doctor Strange. I thought they had turned into zombies too. Phew. I'm worried for nothing. In the previous video, it was Iron Man, Doctor Strange and the Hulk who fought against these two guys. There seems to be no change in this world. Yeah, why haven't we seen any zombies yet? Could it be that they were all wiped out by Iron Man and others? At a time when countless people are excited and confused point the sound of the hero's appearance sounded in the background. It gave countless people a sense of hope point. Even Bruce Banner in the video saw this. He also shouted excitedly, it's Tony. Ha ha ha, you're done. Only Seen in the video. Point the aperture is getting wider. 3 figures walked out of it. Point look from afar. It can be seen that they are Iron Man, Doctor Strange and King. Point, but due to smoke and dust cleaning. Point unable to see their faces clearly. Point suddenly, magic and light cannons flashed in the smoke, defeating Black Dwarf and Ebony Maw in an instant. That's right. This is Iron Man. Wait, are you? This seems a bit too much, but at this moment. Point through the turbid smoke. Point the camera looks through Bruce Banner's eyes. I saw that familiar figure defeating Black Dwarf and Ebony Maw. Point the constant biting made the sound of bones breaking. The countless people watching the video gasped. Point his face was full of horror and disbelief. They seemed to realize it. Something is very wrong with Iron Man, Doctor Strange and others. Could it be that they turned into zombies? Smoke and dust roared. Point when the camera zoomed in on Iron Man and others, their faces were ferocious, all turned blue-gray, and their mouths were split open to the roots behind their ears. They looked extremely scary. Boom, boom, boom. See this scene. Point the hearts of countless people were boiling like a stormy sea, and their whole bodies were trembling uncontrollably. They never thought that Iron Man and Doctor Strange would really turn into zombies. But what shocked them the most was, they turned into zombies, and were able to use weapons and magic. This is simply too shocking. Holy shit. Iron Man and Doctor Strange actually turned into zombies? This shit is actually true. My mother asked me why I knelt down to watch. Who the hell would have thought that the zombie universe would be like this? Oh my god. This has completely shattered my outlook on life. I didn't expect them to be able to use weapons and magic. Doesn't it mean that other Avengers members are like this too? Pray for Bruce Banner. It's tragic enough that he can't transform into the Hulk now. I can already imagine him being eaten. Countless people began to worry. Point I think Bruce Banner may be the only living person in this world. Zero ask for flowers, pray for him. Point at this time. Point the background music became extremely scary, and there was a sense of danger. It made people's already heavy hearts beat crazily. Point it would be a lie to say I'm not nervous. They desperately hope Bruce Banner can escape. Point, but they also know that no one can help him. This is unbelievable. At this moment. Point when Iron Man and others stood up. Point Black Dwarf and Ebony Maw also turned into zombies. They all looked at Bruce Banner. The latter's face was full of fear, and he kept retreating. Point I wanted to run away, but my feet were like lead, and I couldn't move. Point seeing that Iron Man in the distance is about to launch an energy light bomb. Point countless viewers watching the video closed their eyes. I don't want to see Bruce Banner getting eaten. Point however, when they didn't hear the sound of energy light bombs being fired. Point opened suddenly again. I saw a red cape instantly wrapping around Iron Man and dragging him high into the sky. See this scene. Point as if people saw hope. That's right. Point although living creatures can turn into zombies, but the magic cloak won't. Maybe it can actually help Bruce Banner escape. Zero, it's a cloak. It's Doctor Strange's magical cloak. It shouldn't turn into a zombie. I've wanted this spiritual cloak for a long time. I didn't expect it to help Bruce Banner at such a critical moment. Thank you, Doctor Strange. Quickly, Hulk. However, I don't think that cape can help me escape. Look at Doctor Strange wanting to eat me so much. Do you think I can escape? Just when people had just started to have a little hope. Point Bruce Banner himself spoke on the pessimistic side. Point good point. Even if the magic cloak wraps around Iron Man. Point there are also Doctor Strange, Wong and others. He looked at Bruce Banner as if he hadn't eaten in 10,000 years. Then activate the magic. Point an aperture is created. Even though the magic cloak threw Iron Man out, it instead restrained Wong and Doctor Strange, and even used the aperture to cut off Wong's head. Point but it can't stop the ebony throat, because the ebony throat can control objects through the air. No, no, no. Don't eat me. Don't eat me. Bruce Banner, who was originally hiding behind the car, was directly grabbed by Ebony Maw and controlled in the air in front of them. Point although Bruce Banner roared, Iron Man and other zombies just wanted to eat him. Point so they all extended their hands. See this scene. Point countless people close their eyes again. Point although they have already guessed the ending of Bruce Banner, but watching Bruce Banner being eaten alive will still make many people feel sick to their stomachs. He even imagined extremely bloody scenes, but at this moment, the background music was not as desperate and scary as they imagined. But slowly, like a bud breaking out of the ground, it represents hope, making countless people very curious. Could there be a reversal in this situation? But in the eyes of countless people in shock and disbelief. I saw large swaths of black bugs quickly arriving in front of Ebony Moore and the others like locusts passing through. Eat them all up. Silence, speechless. Countless people watching the video saw this scene. They all froze in place. These bugs are obviously here to help Bruce Banner, because they only eat zombies such as Iron Man and Doctor Strange. Totally let Bruce Banner go. So someone must be manipulating these bugs. Could it be said that there are still living people in this world? The thought of this, people seem to see hope again. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.